Round one. Fight! Hey, welcome, guys, to Tier Ranker Fights, episode 39. This is the top 50 highest-grossing movies of all time. We actually have the top 45, and then we did the five that would have been in there if you adjusted for inflation. So you'll see that coming up. But we're starting a little late. I had some technical difficulties with my internet decided to crap out on me, so I don't know what happened there. It could have been an outage or something. But we'll go ahead and introduce our panel for tonight. So We'll start with my co-host, Austin Pez. How's it going?
What's up? Are we going to finally prove tonight that money equals quality? Maybe not, but maybe in some cases, so maybe not in other cases. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see if money talks. I don't know, but and then we'll introduce some returning panelists, and then we got one new one as well. So we'll introduce Moose Hawes. How's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me back on, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always a good time when you're here with us. So yeah, and then we also have Liz Shannon Miller joining us. What's up, Shannon?
Oh, hi there.
Or Liz?
It's just Liz. Yeah, that happens a lot actually. It's weird. Like I use Shannon because I don't know if you've guessed, but Liz Miller is a pretty common name.
Right.
So I just use that for my byline and so forth. But I've been introduced to multiple people as Shannon, and it's always a little disconcerting.
Mm-hmm.
But yes,
Yeah. Liz.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, this is Tank Girl.
Nice.
Nice.
Hi, Tank Girl.
She's obliging to hang out for a little bit.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have Amadou Moses in the house. How's it going?
What up? What's going on? Good to see Liz again. Moose. No. Moose is dope. And Tank Girl is always great to have Tank Girl present on camera when he blesses us with it. So happy to be back.
Yeah. And we also have the OG himself from There Will Be Trivia. We have Henry Sanchez in the house. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. I'm glad I'm not the only one having a beverage today, so I don't feel like I'm peer pressuring anyone else to be forced at as we go on. So I'm glad we're starting off on a good note.
Don't worry, I'm pretty sure I've never been on a stream with Moose when he's not drinking, so you're good.
I find it disturbing you're that observant of me.
Yeah.
As long as everyone it keeps their shirt on. Like I did a live stream a little bit ago, and somebody just was like, "I'm just gonna take my shirt off now and rub my nipples," and I was like, "I want to get out of here as soon as humanly possible."
What happens when you get on those paywall ones? That stuff happens.
That's what they call a hard out.
You should have been on here when.
Yikes!
Hard out is a good one, and I really
our most infamous appearance came from. Liz the Barbarian did one live from his hot tub, so that was our most infamous appearance here on Right.
It's a hot tub, then it's fine.
That was a good time.
A little class for that. That's kind of fine, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have an excuse to have your shirt off. Right?
Actually, really
Not surprising, though. Not surprising.
We just save all the no close stuff for the Patreon, right? You can find it all there. Yeah. But yeah, we'll just jump into things. So Austin, do you want to kind of break it down how it's going to work, and I'll bring up the tier ranker chart here.
Yeah, so like I said, we've got the top 45 along with 5 from the adjusted for inflation list, just to get some more old school flair in there. And what we're going to do is Burton's going to line us up on the side here as he brings up the charts, and we'll go up and down the tower here, and everybody will get a chance to nominate a film, and you can nominate it for any ranking whatsoever. We got S through. Oh, he put E on there instead of F. That should be F, like in school, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, sorry.
We'll just go with E, I guess.
I
can actually change it. Here you go. F.
But I totally didn't realize that we don't use E for like the worst ranking. I have no idea why.
There you go. I'm gonna switch it to F, but get it in the right spot because this is kind of wonky, this site sometimes. But just bear with me. If I pay no attention to the order, I'm gonna fix it in a minute.
But everybody will pick a movie when it's their turn from the list here, and you can nominate it for anything. But we're only going to allow 10 in the S tier. By the end of the night, we want to try to have a top 10, and we'll pull 3 from the A tier for our honorable mentions, and those will go up in a poll in the Schmodown Friends and Family group at some point tomorrow. So, but you can nominate a movie for any ranking whatsoever. You can start with bad, you can start with good, anything in between. And we won't talk about everything, but about the 2-hour mark, we kind of start to wrap up with our Hail Mary round to kind of see how that works when we get there. And then we'll individually rank the S tier and the A tier. Sound good?
Yeah, and
right.
There you go.
I'll post the list of all the movies over in the private chat here in just a minute, but we'll go ahead and let Henry be the first one to kick it off, and then while he's doing his turn, I'll post it in the private chat for you guys so you can see a little bit, because sometimes these little icons can be a little tough to kind of see. You gotta squint kind of. So, but yeah, we'll start at the bottom of the ladder with Henry, and if you have any questions about which poster is which movie, just let me know. I'll tell you what it is. But yeah, if you just want to pick one and then just pick a ranking, and then you'll have up to a minute if you want to talk about where you want to rank it and why.
So the first one's going to be easy. It's actually kind of relative to what happened today in the private chat. I just bought a brand new TV and soundbar. So my first instinct to test it out, hands down, didn't hesitate, Avengers End Game. And that is the one I want to bring up first because, if you know me, you won't necessarily think of me as like a geek person, but you know that I do love geek movies, and it's without a doubt S tier. It's hard to doubt the fact that what it did was amazing. The way it was able to culminate the entire MCU and, in fact, essentially the later half of the 2010s for comic book films in general, it's really impressive. And they were able to bring everyone together, and it has a cohesive story. It was able to work based off the stakes that Infinity War set up, and it's fantastic. So you have the quote unquote civil war between Infinity War and Endgame for a lot of people for their favorites, of the like Avengers movies, unless you have people with nostalgia for the OG one. But it's one of those ones where Endgame did exactly what it needs to do. It made so much money for a reason, and I can't believe that anyone would think it's not S tier. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to say.
Yeah, sounds good. Amadou, what do you think for Endgame?
It's easy. It's an S tier movie. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. Plain and simple. Even if it's a comic book movie, not only as a movie, but culturally, the impact it does to be able to end so many storylines, to cap so many movies together in one movie, less than 3 hours. It's brilliant. I love this movie to death. So S tier for me.
Yeah. Liz, what do you think?
I will answer this by saying I saw this movie probably like 4 or 5 times in the theater around the time it came out, and the first one was at a press screening on the Disney lot. So it was like a few days before the movie came out. completely open, complete. No one knew anything except for of course, all the things we knew. And I swear I've never heard an audience gasp in unison the way that this audience gasped at 5 years later. It was just like the impact of it was incredible. So on that basis alone, yeah, I'm good with it in S tier.
Yeah. Sounds good. Moose, what do you think?
S tier, easy.
Yep.
It was not a marathon to get to this movie. It was, 13 years of enjoyable movies, minus one or two in there that were misfire, but getting here was a culmination, and fans invested so much time, and I didn't get to see this in, a screening at Disneyland, but when I did see this, I was in Las Vegas that weekend, and I have never had a movie-going experience like I had at this movie. Holy crap, there were people like on their feet screaming and yelling. It was one of the most incredible experiences, but also this movie's just amazing. And then I saw it literally the very next day and the next weekend, just because this movie is the end for so many of these characters that we were just so highly invested in and loved. So yeah, definitely S tier. Good choice.
Yeah. I apologize, by the way, if it was braggy mentioning the press screening.
No, it
wasn't at Disneyland. It was at the Disney lot. So it was just like it was at office buildings.
Like, ooh, special.
Still super cool though.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Some people
I mean, it was mostly just the part where no one knew that was coming. Like, and it still just had such an impact.
Yeah.
Well, Austin, what do you think?
Well, Jordan knows my stance on this, but I stick to my guns. I put Avengers End Game in the B tier. I don't like it as much as everybody else does. I don't think it's held up as well over time, over repeat viewings. I am the Infinity War guy, as Henry has kind of alluded to. I think Endgame has a villain problem. And the problem is that they go and behead Thanos, and then there is no villain pretty much for almost the entire movie. And the better Thanos version is in Infinity War. And I think the time travel stuff is a little bit lazy as far as getting to a resolution. And just some of the moments I don't think hit as well as some of the moments in Infinity War. I think the battles are better in Infinity War. And I just think the thing is a little more cohesive. Maybe it's because I'm a Empire Strikes Back guy too. I like dark endings. I like the ending of Infinity War. And the Endgame one just doesn't hit me as hard. So I've stuck to my guns. I think it's still good, but I put it in the B tier.
Yeah, Malcolm already knew that it was coming, so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He knows. Anybody who's been on the shows knows. I mean, that's just. But I stick to my guns. I'm not going to fake it and try to, go with the group. Like I stick to my guns, and I've stuck to the B tier on this one.
Yeah. Well, I do really see where you're coming from, Austin. Though, I absolutely think that this movie is an S tier. I'll just say that, but I do understand how some of the villain stuff is a little wonky, especially the time travel stuff. How Tony Stark kind of comes up with it in like a day or something. It just kind of it's a little wonky, but it's not like enough to bring it down for me. I still think that it's an incredible feat what they were able to do. Not only technically, it was to bring this many iconic superheroes together in one place, and the whole portal scene when they're fighting Thanos and all the ones that disappeared, they come back through on your left. They're right there to fight in the battle with Thanos. It's just an amazing thing that makes me want to just stand up and cheer. Seeing Captain America yield the Mjolnir and all that stuff is just awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an S tier.
Like you said, that's the one that I literally tested my brand new TV on. Is that entire scene? It's like, how do you not? It's so epic.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't really think Austin's B
No, it's not going to drag it
They're
down.
not
Maybe we
gonna
got
drag it
5
down,
S tier
yeah,
votes.
yeah.
It's going to be
I'm
there.
not gonna lie.
Look, I
You still gave it a
understand
B.
that.
It made me happy. I was like, oh, okay, you're being negative on it, and it's still a B. I'm like, that's cool. Like, I'll take that.
Yeah,
No, it's fine. I saw it 3 times in the theaters. I own the 4K Blu-ray. I've watched it once or twice. I just don't think it. I've watched Infinity War way more, and it just kind of gets worse every time I watch it. To be honest, End Game does, but that's just me personally. So that's all. I think it kind of drags.
Right? yeah,
Mhm.
but
Let's do each his own. But I'm not mad about being in the S tier. That's fine. I knew it would be.
yeah, we'll throw it over to Amadou. So you want to pick one to rank?
Yeah. So the biggest movie event in my life before Endgame is easily one of my favorite movies of all time. Though I prefer the other two more, but they're all in my top 20 of all time. It's Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. It's S tier.
Oh yeah,
It was the other big movie event that delivered in my lifetime, because there's other movie events that did not deliver, and this definitely delivered. I didn't care how many times people groaned at the 4th, 5th, and 6th ending. I was like, give me more. Come on, give me more. I'm good with this. Do not end. It's an epic ending to the best trilogy of all time to me. Even being for me the third best out of the 3, it is still incredible. And I actually think it has some of the best acting for characters in all of the films, especially like when you got Gandalf and Pippin being juxtaposed to Jon Noble and what he does with Denethor. And how despicable Jon Noble can be, comparing it to how innocent and naive and heartfelt that Billy Boyd is, and then Gandalf has to kind of be that in between. Aragorn trying to figure out how to become the king, and the whole scene of him calling the dead men to task. I love this film. It is an easy S tier for me.
Yeah. Liz, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't have any good counter argument against it, and it's actually funny. I think at the time, I recently rewatched the whole trilogy, the extended versions, and I remember, of course, at the time we gave that third movie a lot of crap for having too many endings, but the thing about it is that they've aged really well, I think, and it's mostly just because once you've been through like up to that, at that point, like 10 to 12 hours of adventuring with this team, like you're just genuinely excited to find out everything that happens, and all the extra endings just totally end up working. So yeah, I'm good with it at S tier.
Yeah, for sure. Moose, what do you think?
Yeah, for sure, S tier. I made the mistake of seeing a midnight showing of this movie.
It was a long night.
So at 3 a.m., it got to feel a little long. But then, of course, this movie is an S tier, and this is one of my favorite trilogies. One of them. I agree with Amadou. I think 1 and 2 may be a little bit better than 3, but just this is not an easy story to tell. I've read these books when I was a kid, and all kudos to Peter Jackson for putting together what is a very, very challenging story to tell, but still very much creating lovable characters, like Liz mentioned, characters that you don't give a damn about. An extra 20 minutes of Sam marrying Rosie. You want to see it. You want to know what happens. You're invested in these characters. So
after all the hobbits, sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
I was just gonna say, after all the hobbits went through, I'm just really happy to know that they're all getting laid now.
Exactly.
Especially Sam. Sam deserved it.
Sam deserved it.
Yes, he did.
Sam earned that lay. But yeah, definitely S tier. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of like Mr. Moses in that the Two Towers is my personal favorite of the series. But yeah, I fully recognize, the epicness of Return of the King and the quality. I mean, literally it like swept a ton of Oscars. I mean, deservedly so. And it's kind of cool to see a sweeping kind of fantasy epic do that, which you don't see very often. Kind of a nerd movie, take top quality at an Academy Awards like that. So that's always cool. But yeah, I mean, it's Peter Jackson at the top of his game, doing what he does. And yeah, I don't mind that it's long. If it's as long as it's good, I don't care if it's a long movie. There's a couple of really long movies on this list, but if it keeps my interest and it keeps my entertainment, I'm down with it. So yeah, I'm cool with S tier on Return of the King.
Yeah, and same for me. I'm the same way. I like the Two Towers. It's probably my favorite of the trilogy, but I mean, the Return of the King, like it's just like neck and neck. Like that, this movie is really, really awesome. And after seeing 3.5 hours, we got an extended version, and I don't hear really anyone complaining about those extended versions. Like everyone wants to see more, give us more, And also, the Return of the King has my pure like favorite moment of the whole trilogy, where Eowyn stabs the Witch King in the face and says, "I am no man," and stabs it. Yeah, it's like so good. Oh, like it chills every time thinking about that.
Bruce, don't forget, nobody heard the question. They didn't hear the question, so
I'm just gonna go. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, it's a definite S tier though, for sure.
Henry.
Return of the King specifically and Lord of the Rings, it's one of those where there's a few on this entire possibility of list where you're gonna pick one from a franchise or from a name brand, and honestly, it's hard to fight. Oh, this one's better than that one because they're so high in quality. So if anyone would have said another one, it's that's fine. You know what I mean? You don't argue it, long as one represents because it has a an entity. And Lord of the Rings, like you talk about all the small things, like Pippin's song is just one of those most beautiful, heartfelt things that is so underrated because there's so much epic scope and action. But when you think of the heartfelt notion of that, what it represents, and especially in the context of the entire film at that point, and it's man, it's there's little moments like that, and that's why you need a 4-hour epic in the extended edition of a movie like that, where it's you don't care because it's stuff like that. It's just you get wrapped up in it, and it's beautiful. So Lord of the Rings, like I said when I was talking about Endgame, where it's I'm not really a geek guy, but there's movies that are just they transcend quote unquote geek material. They're just so great in their film, and they bring everything. I think Martin Scorsese might even like Return of the King because it's just so great. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic pure.
Well, it is not a Marvel movie, so he hasn't expressed any open hostility.
Right?
Right.
I don't think he wants to fight any hobbits.
Yeah. Well, easy, clean sweep S tier for Lord of the Rings. So even with that, I'm gonna put it right at the top for now. But
Liz is up.
But Liz, you're up next. So what do you want to pick?
Oh, this is easy. I think the first time I came on this show, I didn't really understand the game, if you will. So I think I went for something kind of middling, and I was just I want to talk about this. Is kind of a C, whatever. So no, this time I'm just skipping straight to the good stuff. Jurassic Park, end of list, end of discussion. Just put it in S tier.
Oh yeah.
If anyone has anything to contribute to the question beyond whether or not it's the best or the absolute best, feel free.
Yeah. Sounds good. Moose, what do you think?
My pick. This is going to be my next one. No worries. It's a great flick. I mean, Jurassic Park is probably in my top 3 favorite movies of all time. And I saw this in theaters as a child, young adult, and this was, and I had read the Michael Crichton novels, and so I was aware of this before it became a movie, and I love the movie way more than I love the novels, which you usually don't hear people say. But Jurassic Park is just such a great movie, and it still ages extremely well. The rewatchability factor of this movie is enormous. But there's always certain lines that strike you in movies, and the Alan Grant line when they first see the brachiosaur and it's the first like actual dinosaur that anybody sees, but including Malcolm and Ellie Sadler. They all get to the island and they see it, and he's like, they're moving in herds. They do move in herds. Like, even though he's completely floored, he's still approaching it from a scientist perspective. Like, okay, I'm debunking all the other theories that they didn't move in herds, but proving correct that they did. And so just the writing I also thought was very great in this movie, and all around, absolutely S tier.
Yeah, for sure. Austin, what do you think?
Oh, it's an easy S tier. Listen, I went with my mom to an outdoor screening of Jurassic Park. They had one of the worst sound setups I've ever heard, but it wasn't a problem because I was able to recite the entire movie to her pretty much word for word right next to her, sitting in the back, because that's how much I have seen this movie and love this movie, is that I could just, anything we didn't catch, no problem, I got it. It's all good. And it's just one of those movies. Yeah, I mean, one of those ones I've owned on every kind of physical media you can have, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, you name it, got it. And the whole cast is incredible. Everything just works. Bob Peck as Muldoon is one of my favorite little side characters of all time. He's the game warden. He's awesome. I just love every little scene with him that he steals. Just everything's great. I mean, what's more to say about Jurassic Park? It's Steven Spielberg doing what he does best with big blockbuster films, kind of at the height of his powers in the early 90s. So yeah, S tier, of course.
Yeah, well, Jurassic Park is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I did my top 64 movies on the show, and Jurassic Park won the whole thing. So apparently it's my new favorite movie of all time, I guess. So, which I'm not mad about, which is an awesome movie. And I had a really cool theater experience when I first saw it, because I was living in a small town in Utah, and my parents went to go see this movie, and they came back and they're like we just saw the most incredible movie we've ever seen, like jaw-droppingly amazing. You got to go see this. And so I went to go see it, and I saw it in this small little tiny little one screen theater in my small little town, and I was so floored by it that without telling my parents, I was only I think maybe 8 or 9 years old, and I got on my bike the next day and I went to go see it all by myself, and they were kind of panicked. They're like, where did Jordan go? We can't find him. So afterwards, when I came home, they're all freaking out. Where'd you go? And I went to go see Jurassic Park again because it was awesome. So yeah, so that was a fun experience. But yeah, what's not to love about Jurassic Park? I mean, the effects were groundbreaking when they came out, and they still hold up to this day. It's just an incredible thing to see. And I also read all the Michael Crichton books, and I was surprised that I actually liked the movie even better, because the books are great. But yeah, S tier for sure. So
yeah, so Jurassic Park is one of those where it's like when you bring up lists, or top tier movies, or prestigious directors like Spielberg, it's one of those movies that gets brought up all the time. So instinctively you want to fight back against it, and you might go through phases where you're oh, maybe it's not as good as everyone says, but at the end of the day it is. Granted, it's not my favorite Spielberg, it's top 3, it's number 3, but it's my number 1 blockbuster of his films. So it's one of those, and I was also born in 93 too, so it kind of has that special heartfelt moment in when I think about it. So Jurassic Park, it brings everything that you want. When you have the kid, thought process of oh, I love dinosaurs. It has horror elements. It has comedy. It has the parental aspect of Sam Neill hating kids, kind of loving the kids. You know what I mean? The joke. One of my favorite things is when he goes up to the electric fence. He's I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? It's little things like that. We're talking about Return of the King, where it's you have little things like that. But in these epic movies, it's those are important for to really make you feel for the horror and the action, and there's so much in Jeff Goldblum's a lot of fun. And yeah, Jurassic Park, you can't really hate on it unless you're actively trying to. So no issues with that being S tier.
Yeah, for sure. Amadou?
Yeah, I actually avoided Jurassic Park as a kid. I didn't have any interest. Growing up, there are a bunch of classics that it took me a long time to watch. So as it's not, even though it's not one of my favorite movies like that, I don't mind ever rewatching it. It is so good. And I just can recognize, man, this is a brilliant movie. I would love to watch it again and again and again. There are other like modern classics. I'm like, it's okay. This one is not one of them. It's definitely S tier.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and Jacob kind of said it in the
Another clean sweep.
comments. 3 is the S tiers to start off with. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to start
Pretty-
getting harder because
Yeah,
there's
there's
a
some
lot on
topics
this
where
list
it's
that's
like-
pretty garbage.
yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think we're gonna have some debates coming up soon. Like,
Yeah, so Moose, you're up next. So what do you want to pick?
Mhm.
Well, I'll go in the opposite direction, and I'll throw out an F tier movie that's on this list. Let's go Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Oh, I wanted to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Moose.
There you go.
That's my thing.
All right. Yep.
There is
F tier.
there is one good Transformers movie, and that's Bumblebee, and it's a shame it's not on this list.
Yeah.
I
shouldn't be
can
making
throw
enough
Dark
money.
of the Moon. I hate that Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction are in the top 50 highest grossing movies of all time. These movies are garbage. They're just pure garbage. And I have to watch them and study them for the Schmodown, and absolutely hate that I have to do that. And more importantly, I hate that I have to subject my wife to watching these damn movies too. They're just terrible. I understand why they generate money, but to Austin's joke earlier, the generation of money doesn't necessarily mean a good product, and these are not good products. And it was proof when you took a Transformers concept away from Michael Bay and put it in someone else's hands that there's the possibility of making good movies with these types of characters, right? Bumblebee proved that with Travis Knight. These movies are horrible. And Age of Extinction, okay, my last gripe, right? They build a movie based on, it's called Age of Extinction, right? So you build a movie based on the Dinobots showing up. They're in it for 8 minutes at the end of the movie. Done. F tier.
Yeah. They totally dropped the ball on those Dinobots. Absolutely. Austin, what do you think?
Dude, I just remember sitting in the theater and just being like, they're never going to fool me with these good trailers and bad movies ever again. And I skipped the last night. I was like, you're not going to do this to me again. I'm not going to sit in the theater and pay for this. Like, because I just got to like the 2-hour mark. I was like, this movie's never going to end. How long is this movie? Is this movie 4 hours? Like, this movie just won't go away. And I hated almost every second of it. I hated the stupid, like, what's the thing with like the Mark Wahlberg's daughter and like the Romeo and Juliet thing, him trying to justify dating a minor, like they had to like like it's just so weird. Like it's like, Michael Bay, what's your goofy thing? Like, are you dating a 17-year-old? Weird, creepy. Just like I hated this movie, and I haven't gone back to watch it since, and there's a reason, because it sucks. I don't want to subject myself to that anymore. Now, a bunch of these Transformers movies should be an F tier. Can we just put all the ones that are on this list in the F tier, because they all stink?
I vote that I heartily nominate that as what we should do.
Oh yeah,
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, just put Dark of the Moon in there too. Just whatever other ones are on here, just put them all in there. They all suck.
I have more hate for I already had Dark of the Moon as my least favorite of all of them. I have more hate.
I got more hate
now.
Yeah, same. Yeah, because well, for me, when this movie came out, I'm like, oh, they got Mark Wahlberg. I mean, they're like trying some things. They're like, the trailers look pretty good, but then like I kept telling myself, yeah, but so did all the other trailers for every movie. They all look good, and I will say that the special effects are really, really amazing. They're like some of the most incredible special effects, but that's all the movies have. They don't have anything else of redeeming quality. And yeah, like when I went to go see Age of Extinction, in particular, I was on a date with this girl, and halfway through it, we both looked at each other and were like, "Do you want to bail? Like, this is horrible." And she's like, "Yep." We just walked out. Like, we didn't even stay for the whole thing. So yeah, but yeah, F tier. Henry,
all right.
What do you think?
So here's a caveat. I've only seen 2 Transformers movies. The first one, and well, other than Bumblebee, but like with the Transformers name, Transformers and this one. And I'd only seen this after it came out, and at the time, I still love Mark Wahlberg, but at the time, I was a hardcore Mark Wahlberg stan. So my memory of this film is technically positive. Even then, I never said it was like a favorite movie, but like I haven't revisited it since. But I enjoyed it. So I'll meet you guys in the middle, and I'll say C.
Okay.
I'm not really trying to raise it up, but I'm also trying to be genuine because my memory of the film was technically positive. I don't technically remember why, but I do remember enjoying this film. I don't know if it's because I liked Transformers as a kid, and I was like, oh, punch, 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 Transformers, me, or Mark Wahlberg. I don't know, to be honest. But at the time, that was my memory of it. So I don't hate it like everyone else. But I also don't consider it like S tier, obviously. So I'll meet you in the middle. I'll say C, and then, worst case scenario, I raise it up to a D. Sorry in advance.
Yeah, no worries. Amadou? You can comment on both Transformers if you want. So
yeah, these two.
I haven't seen the other one, so I will say that.
Yeah, these two are my least favorite Transformers movies. Again, a certain question notwithstanding at the end of a title match. Dark of the Moon was already my least favorite in the first place. Yeah, it was already my least favorite in the first place after rewatching them. I remember going to see Dark of the Moon. I was like, that was enjoyable. Then I watched it again. No, it's long and it's a slog, and I could not get rid of it. I actually like Age of Extinction a little bit more. Though it's just a lot of stupidity. I thoroughly enjoyed the Last Night with no qualms. I actually enjoyed the Last Night. I thought it was funny, so I'm glad I don't have to like say, hey, I actually enjoyed that film. It's really stupid, but it's funny, and they're kind of at the point where like we know what we're doing, or at least Anthony Hopkins knew. I'm gonna just have as much fun as I can. So instead of talking about these two shits, Last Night is not that bad. I enjoyed it a lot. These two are F films. Straight up, for sure.
Yep. Liz, would you agree?
Yeah, I think Amaru has like been in training sessions where I have for the 18,000th time tried to remember the names of all the Transformers movies. For some reason, my brain actively rejects retaining that information. So every time right before a match, I have to basically have to remind myself what all the subtitles are because I'm sure one day it'll come up. Yeah, I mean, it's just the Transformers franchise in general has been completely unforgivable ever since the first one, where you take Michael Bay, a guy who you think would be able to direct a pretty good giant robot fight, and he creates just the most incomprehensible filmic garbage. I'm still so mad that he couldn't. That he of all the directors who you would assume would be really good at directing a giant robot fight, he totally doesn't know how to direct a coherent action sequence. It's ridiculous. And so I've been very offended by the Transformers movies ever since, and I'm totally fine with them, everything being ranked F.
Yep. Sounds about right. That's a consensus. So we'll just move on to Austin. You're up next. So what do you want to go for?
Well, I was also going to go with a movie on this list that I hate and I think is pretty awful, kind of like Moose, just because that's kind of what I've been doing with a lot of tier ranker fights, just starting it out. And that is, I cannot believe it's in the top 50 and it made $1 billion. That's Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Holy ugly, disgusting, soul-crushing movie. Ooh, fuck me. I saw that on the list. I was like number 49. I was like, I cannot believe this movie made $1 billion. What a draining movie. Like, you watch this movie and you're just like, oh, like, where did the color go? Like, did he just darken everything? Why does everything just, I know it's Tim Burton, why does everything look so weird? Why does what's her name have a big head and a tiny body? Like, what? Like, it's just, it's boring. It's boring. It's defeating. It's draining. It's bad to look at. At least the Transformers movies are decent to look at. At least I think Alice in Wonderland. It's in that point where we were just so sick of Tim Burton and Johnny Depp just doing every single movie together. It was like their 8th movie together or something like that. And you're just like, I'm just over it. Can we just knock it off and go away? I think this movie's awful. I think it's in the F tier, and I think it's one of the worst big budget $1 billion movies ever made, personally. I'm sure people would disagree with me, but that's fine. Just my opinion.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't agree or disagree with you too much. I mean, I'd probably give it like a D for me. Like, I don't know if I would go ahead as far to say F, because I did have a little bit of fun, especially like probably mostly with Johnny Depp's character, even though he was just kind of off the wall, just doing some crazy out of left field. I mean, I didn't really like the character, but I didn't hate it either. It's kind of like, man, it's just there. But yeah, I will say that I did enjoy the sequel a little better, just because it like does something new.
Ugh, I didn't. Why would you bother?
But like I didn't really enjoy it that much. Like if this is the D, the sequel is probably like a low C for me. It's not really that much better. So but I mean,
I forgot there was a sequel till I was looking at it on IMDb, and I'm like, oh my god, they made a sequel. Oh, I forgot about that.
Well,
I completely forgot that movie existed. Yeah, I know, $1 billion. Yeah, of course you're going to make a sequel, but it wasn't a Tim Burton movie. Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say, Allison and Wonderland in this top 45 that I included is probably like number, I think, like 44. So like it was lower on the list, but it still made it. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a D just because I don't think it's quite as bad as Transformers. So I'll just.
So I'll preface by saying I don't like the animated version that much. You know, it's fine. It's weird. You know, it's like a animated cult movie. You know what I mean? You kind of have to be into the weird stuff or have the nostalgia for it. So I didn't really enjoy like the animated one that much. This one, you know, Johnny Depp's creepy. He's weird. You know, doing that weird. It is what it is. And then Helmet and Bonham, like you said, with the big head. I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, it could be technically a so bad it's good type of deal on some aspects. So I don't have like a personal hatred towards it. So I'll agree with D. You know what I mean? Like F. I feel like, granted on this one, because generally speaking, higher quality movies. So like F might not be as like saturated as other possible topics, but still, I feel like there might be a couple things that you can pick out of it. So I'll say D.
Yeah. Amadou, what do you think?
I saw this movie once, not in theaters, thankfully. I don't remember a thing from it. I never wanted to see it again. It's an F.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
F seeing this again, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Liz?
I'll do you one better. I've never seen it.
Okay.
I probably should. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I feel guilty for not having seen it as a quasi completist, but also I already helped Tim Burton make enough money by seeing his films. I saw Planet of the Apes in theaters. He doesn't need any more of my box office dollars.
No.
Me too. Well, look, if you're ever bound up and you haven't gone in a couple of days, watch this movie followed by Mordecai, and you'll be able to just excuse all the shit. This movie's terrible. I did see this movie in theaters. I also saw Planet of the Apes in theaters. So I agree. Like, I've got a love-hate relationship with Tim Burton. I love maybe 40% of his stuff and hate the other 60%. And this was well in that 60%. So, yeah, this is an F.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty much a consensus. We'll leave it there. So, but while we're talking about some bad movies, I may as well throw out a bad one here too. So I'm gonna go for an F tier. So one that like I'm baffled that it's even on here. But I'm gonna go for Minions. Like this movie is not made for me. I don't understand Minions. I don't get it. Like the Minions work really really great as side characters. So like they're like fun. You can have a good time with them. But then once you center a whole entire movie around Minions, it just gets painfully bad. I don't want to spend a whole entire movie not understanding a word that they're saying, just a bunch of gibberish that's supposed to be cute, but the jokes don't really work for me. The only thing that actually works for me is I do love this poster though. The poster is actually awesome. So but besides that though, like posters don't really make a movie. So I'm gonna put it on the F tier. I just don't care for the Minion, like the banana and all the like singing and all the weird stuff that just not my cup of tea. So yeah. But we'll see what you guys think.
Yeah, so this will be the one that like I'm not even gonna act like I even have ever in my life considered watching this. I'm like, I'm not. You know what I mean? Like the Despicable Me franchise by itself is fine. You know what I mean? It's it has its merits. But there was, as soon as this was announced, like, I'm good. I'm okay. Like I don't have kids that are gonna force me to watch it. And if I did, then I would drown them that day. You know what I mean? It's like, I would have
Yeah, right.
so it's like we'll put it in the F, and now I'm fine with it.
Yep. Sounds good. Amadou?
So I'm a big kid, and I got to see this movie for free on the dime of Marshawn Lynch, and met Marshawn Lynch that day at the theater.
Oh, really?
So I have good feelings towards it.
Let's go.
On top of the fact that I actually enjoyed this film. It is not as good as Despicable Me, but I always love the Minions. I think they're hilarious. And I enjoyed myself watching this movie. I didn't see it again because it was like, I just needed to see it once, see if it was okay. I laughed at the things that they do because I like the characters. I'd put it a C. I think it's a decent, okay kids film.
Yeah. Sounds good. Liz, what do you think?
I confess I have not seen it, but I am quasi-objectively pro Minions, if only for my mother's sake. My mother really likes Minions. I don't. It's quasi adorable, and they're fun to talk to like sometimes. I enjoy talking like them sometimes. So I'm good with the Minions. I'm good with them being bumped up to a C.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good.
I have no hate in my heart.
Right. Yeah.
I think I'm with the A train. This is probably a C tier movie. I too am a 6'5" child, so it kept me entertained, and certainly my nieces and nephews love the hell out of it. And the Despicable Me movies the quality of them are far better, and the characters are far better. But I don't know. It was fun. I had a good time with it. I would rewatch it if it was on TV. So yeah, I'll put it C tier. That's a good choice, Elmaru.
Yeah. Austin?
I haven't seen it because I'm not 3 years old and I don't have kids. Look, it's when I heard that's pretty much the only people who would watch this movie and this was made for, I didn't watch it. Look, I like the first Despicable Me movie a lot, actually. I think it's actually really well done. The sequels are okay, take them or leave them. But I didn't have that much love for the franchise to go watch Minions, so I'll have to abstain. I have not seen Minions. Yeah.
Sure. We got some shade over at Amadou here from Henry.
Hey, I do love it. If you happen to just glance at my top 100 that's going on another channel, I like a lot of TNT movies. I like a lot.
Yeah.
He knows Amaru.
Yeah.
What TNT?
Mm-hmm.
Like the movies that you see on TNT every night.
Oh, okay.
Like
The figurative TNT, not actual TNT. Okay,
yes,
great.
not actual.
His top 100 is in fact Dynamite.
Love it.
Hey!
Yeah.
Oh. Nailed it.
But I feel like we got a couple of C's and a couple of F's, so I mean, probably like a D.
D, yeah, it goes right in the middle
Good
of D,
average,
sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do it there, but
It should be
we're back
for banana, but whatever.
Yeah, right. But we're back down to Henry, so you got another one you want to pick?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with one that I watched specifically for this list, and my roommate just came home, so my dog's bark, warning in advance. But I watched Gone with the Wind for the very first time. Finally, I ripped the Band-Aid off of this one. Like, I love classic films. If you know me, you know that I expand my horizon for entire different genres and years of cinema. But Gone with the Wind is just one of those where it's like, on paper it's not like a Henry movie, so it's like I didn't rush out to see that, and it's so long. So when I watched it, I went with like tempered expectations. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but I was blown away. This movie's amazing. I'm not personally gonna put it in S tier because I feel like it doesn't. I don't think I don't think it'll be for everyone. Like with Jordan in the chat, when you're like, should I watch it, for this show? I'm like, honestly, I would be cool if you didn't, because I doubt it'd be a you movie. You know what I mean? And it's nothing against you. You know what I mean? It doesn't transcend all people, but it is amazing for if you like that type of stuff, or if you are willing to not be biased, more towards certain films. So I still want to put in the A, tier, but I did want to bring it up because I specifically watched it for this, and I think it was really fantastic. Like, granted, it is almost 4 hours, but it really didn't feel like that. You know what I mean? Like, I have the Green Mile in the background right now just because I wanted to have a background movie, which is a 3-hour movie, and that's another one where you just watch it. Like, I feel like I could just put this in the background. I'm like, oh yeah, there's that scene, you know, Scarlett O'Hara and Tara, and like, you know, I love Clark Gable, and like, there's certain aspects of the moment, like, oh yeah, you know, that's a good scene. You know what I mean? And like, I might not ever need to rewatch it again. It's a 5-star movie for me immediately because of how it impacted me, but I don't know if I'll ever rewatch it or, you know, for a while. So I can't necessarily put an S tier, but I do think it is amazing. And if you are willing to take a risk, I would recommend it.
Yeah, for sure. Amadou, what do you think?
I've never been willing to take that risk. I've seen scenes. I've not seen films. And I probably, this isn't one of the classics I'll probably go back to, so I'm going to abstain because I have not seen it.
Yeah, fair enough. Liz, what do you think?
So I actually, this is one of the first classic films I ever watched on VHS. It was a 2 VHSer back in the day. And I feel like it is in fact one of the great cinematic epics. It is also a film that has, I don't know how much we want to get into that, but the racial politics of it have aged terribly. It is not a particularly subtle or good movie in any respect like that. I would not necessarily, I honestly, like, I would have a hard time telling anyone to watch it today just because I feel like that's such a hard element to jibe with. And, you know, as a result, I'm good with leaving it on the A tier, but I wouldn't put it in an S.
Yeah. Moose, what do you think?
I'm gonna echo what Liz just said too. I mean, I watched this one at the beginning of the year, trying to study for classics, and I agree too with everything that Liz just said. And I think A is exactly where this should remain. I'll keep it short.
Yeah. Sounds good. Austin?
So I'm like Henry. I have had this one sitting on my Blu-ray shelf for forever. Bought it a long time ago. Have never cracked it open. And this, show gave me an excuse to finally do it. I watched it in hour-long chunks. But I had a great time with it. I loved it. I'm kind of like Henry. It's like, it's not going to be an S tier because I don't know if I'll ever, have an urge to ever just put it on again. Maybe, I might at some point maybe pop it on and watch it in the background or something, possibly. But there's some incredibly like epic scenes for a 1939 movie. I mean, there's that one crane shot where they pull back when Scarlett's running around like the wounded Civil War soldiers, and it's like a football field long of like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And like, it's a crazy shot even compared to modern movies on how practical it is. Like there's a great sequence where they're like escaping a town. There's fire everywhere and explosions. Like, it's pretty good. Like, there's really good stuff in this movie that I was like, wow. I mean, I'm always blown away by these older movies and the risks that they took. Politics aside, I can kind of set that aside and just kind of appreciate, the movie for what it is. But yeah, I think A is a perfectly good thing. I would not be surprised if it basically made our honorable mentions tonight. I think it probably should. So I'll keep it in a very strong A tier.
Yeah. So this movie, I was debating whether or not I should watch it, and actually I want to surprise everyone. I actually did watch this movie, so I actually saw it. So like I wasn't going to, but it's the only movie that I haven't seen on this whole entire list, and so I was like, I gotta watch it. And like one of the things I want to say, like I did really like it, but I don't want to say Scarlett O'Hara. What a bitch! I'm sorry. Like
that's a point, though.
That's kind of her thing.
I literally said
point.
in my Letterboxd review,
like she's not.
If Jenny was an entire film, it would be Scarlett O'Hara, like from Forrest Gump.
Yeah. right.
Well, that's the point. Is when you watch the whole movie, the final line, the "Frankly, my dear, I'll give it." It's the culmination of her not putting up with her shit anymore. Like he's finally done. Even Clark Gable, as cool as he is in the movie, as much as he calls her out and everything, he's just had it with her by the end of the movie, and that's like the point. Is he's just had it. Like it hits harder when you've seen the whole movie.
Exactly.
Well, some weird things too, because it's like. Well, it starts out and she wants to date her cousin or something like that. Something weird. She's like waiting for for her cousin, but then her cousin dies, I think, if I remember right. And then so Clark Gable goes after her, but it's like she just wants to be with him because he's rich and he has all this money. So just buy me everything. Like I just want all these nice things, and it's kind of the only reason why she's even really with him. And but like besides that, her character aside though, like there's a lot of really cool things in this movie though. Like when I first started watching it, I was like, did they do like a remaster of this or something? Because I watched it off of HBO Max. I'm like, this is really clear. It almost looks like 4K. Like the color is really good for the time. But then I did a little research and like it was actually like really good quality for its time, and like it came out in color when almost no movies were really doing that. Like they're barely having movies with actual pictures at that time. So like it was just like a really cool technical achievement. And then kind of like you mentioned, Austin, like when she's walking through all the Civil War like bodies and everything, and then she doesn't really seem like she's like too upset until she sees the body of her mom just laying there, and it kind of sinks in that like all the death kind of starts to get to her, and yeah, there's just some pretty cool themes for the time too. And then all the racial stuff aside, I'm just glad Hattie McDaniel, she was the first African American to win an Oscar, so I think that's pretty cool. It's another plus for the movie. So yeah, like I think A is probably perfect for it. Yeah, I'd give it a solid A.
Things I want to say, like you were talking about, just how well it looked. It's the same year and the same director from The Wizard of Oz, Victor Fleming. So it's like it's just when you have someone who behind the camera and behind the scenes that knows what they're doing, that transcends time as well. And it's real quick, if you've seen Django Unchained, I feel like Samuel L. Jackson's performance is a little bit based on like this character because of just how it is, and it you pay homage to that. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's a little wonky in terms of it's like it is what it is, honestly, but she's such a strong presence. Like there's times when she's like, yo, you need to stop being like that. And it's like, for her to technically be, a servant or however you want to phrase it, for her to still have an adult presence in her life, like that's strong and powerful. And, you love to see that regardless of, how her status is within the family. So yes, she did deserve, her praise for that performance. So I'm glad you shouted that out.
Yeah, for sure. Amadou and also Moose, you guys got to leave in just a second. So I was just going to let you guys each have one more pick, and then you guys can head out for the night. But we'll start with Amadou. You got one you want to go for?
I'm actually good for a little bit. So Moose can go ahead.
Oh yeah,
Moose.
All right, cool.
All right,
Yeah,
Moose,
we'll
you want to go?
then.
Yeah, you got another one for the
sure.
S tier you want to try to get in there? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you, A Train. So I'm gonna go with
I read
Avengers.
the chat wrong. Sorry, Moose. Yeah, sorry. Like I guess Amadou's good for a while. So Moose, yeah.
I mean, Rue, if you want to come to see Ghostbusters with us tonight, come on out. Let's go.
I'll take the 5-6-hour flight.
Yeah.
I will nominate Avengers.
Yeah.
And my reasoning for it, again, this was kind of the first of obviously many of these Marvel, team ups that were going to be coming. But this being the first, this was also kind of this was unheard of within these, types of movies. And even getting to this point was, several movies along the way. And they were introducing characters that had never really been seen visually on the screen before. And I'm a huge Marvel junkie, have been my whole life. And I literally took a day off of work to see this movie. Like that was like how important this movie was. See,
so did I.
A-Train, Jesus,
Yes.
we're probably the same person, man. I think we just became best friends.
Yes.
And this movie was so important to me as, to actually be a good movie, and it was. And sure, have other Avengers movies come along that have surpassed it? Absolutely. Is Infinity War and End Game a superior movie than this one? Absolutely it is. But this is still an S tier for what it was able to accomplish. And visually bringing these characters together, setting up the storyline for it, Avengers is an S tier movie.
Yeah, for sure. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we kind of take for granted, especially if we take a little trip down memory lane back to, 2008 or so when Iron Man came out, and when Sam Jackson at the end comes out and says he wants to talk about the Avenger Initiative, and we all just like our collective nerd brains just went like, what? I'm sorry, what? you guys are going to do an Avengers movie? Okay, well, I don't think it probably won't be good, right? Like, I mean, they're going to try, but who knows? And then, like, it was awesome. And they had perfectly set it up with the movies that came before it. Everything just came together, and it was a crazy experience. I think I saw it 7 times in the theater. I think it kind of tied Dark Knight at the time for the ones I'd seen in the theater. I know I saw it 3 times opening weekend. I saw it like the midnight Thursday night. I think I saw it Friday night, and then sometime on Sunday, I think. And it was just all of our nerd brains exploded. Tons of the moments. I just wanted to experience that crowd and all the freakouts, man. It was just so much fun. And I think we just take that for granted on how great it was at the time of 2012 and the influence that it had. So I would put it in the S tier. I think absolutely we forget how good that movie was because we've been spoiled by so much of the other stuff that's come out since.
Yeah. And I remember when they first announced that they're going to have an Avengers movie, and like I was just blown away. Like I remember, like because it was back in the day when like the movie trailers weren't as readily available online like they are nowadays. So like I remember, like I'd always take an extra minute when I go to the movie theater to go look at like all the different movie posters to get a little glimpse of what might be coming out soon. And I saw the Avengers, and I'm like, what the frick? They're doing an Avengers movie, and this is like when I was like really out of the loop, not like I am now. And like I grew up reading comic books from all these characters: Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Hulk. Like I'm a huge, massive fan of all these characters, and like to see them all in one movie was like something that just felt really special at the time. Like it just was a really cool thing, and it worked really well, and actually felt like a solid comic book movie overall. And so I would say S tier for sure. So yeah.
All right, so I don't want to sound negative because I'm not. I really, 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 really like the Avengers. But when it comes to the list, I want to prioritize the S tier for other movies. Like I said, with End Game and Return of the King, where it's like you have the one that kind of, captivates that franchise or that entity.
Well, we're not going to put Age of Ultron on there too, Henry. Relax.
I know, but I'm saying there's other. What I'm saying is, out of 50 movies, there's other ones that I might have 1 or 2 slots higher. So, like, technically, I did a math. Like, if you're paying attention in the background, I was counting. Technically, this would still be in the top 10, and we're doing 10 S tiers. But I want to be, it would be a lower end S tier for me. So I will give it S tier, but I wanted to preface where I'm not bowing down, like where it's top of the top. So I will give it S tier because you guys are right, like it's fantastic, and like you said, we're spoiled with Infinity War, Endgame, and even other non-Avengers movies that we might talk about later. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where it's like it's not my favorite of the lot, but you can't doubt that circle scene. When you finally have the Avengers, he didn't technically say assemble, but they did in fact assemble, and it gives you goosebumps just thinking about it. So it's a lower S tier for me personally, but I will give it the S tier.
Yeah, absolutely. Amadou?
Not only did I take the day off to watch this film, I took the day off to do the 6-movie marathon. And watching the playoff game in between it as well. So it was beautiful.
Nice.
I'm actually with Henry. It's another one of my top movies ever. But it would be a lower tier S movie for me, but it is still an S tier movie. Just on the lower end. Not too low though. Not too low.
Yeah. It's hard to say it without saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Liz, what do you think?
It's S tier for me. I only saw it twice opening weekend, but I flew to Boston to do it because I wanted to see it with one of my best friends. I think the thing that it's worth mentioning as we appreciate just how remarkable this film's existence is the fact that Marvel literally bet the farm on the movies working. Like they made as collateral for the loans that originally funded the first MCU movies their entire IP. they would have been wiped out, and Iron Man and Captain America would belong to China if it hadn't all worked out. And that leap of faith is really still something to look back and admire today.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
well, sounds good, Jordan.
Yeah.
It's a clean sweep for Avengers, so it goes above Endgame. Great.
sure, yeah.
I agree.
I mean, yeah,
maybe behind Endgame.
yeah.
That was wild.
We'll leave it here for now, and we'll just see. We'll discuss at the end of the episode. But thanks for joining us, Moose. Do you have anything you want to promote real quick or anything?
I don't. I seriously wish I could stick around and debate some of these non-deserving top 50 movies with the rest of you guys, but Ghostbusters Afterlife is calling, and if you know me, my favorite movie of all time is Ghostbusters. Yep. So I gotta go.
Awesome,
Cheers!
awesome.
Thank you guys so much, Liz, Amaru, Henry, and of course Austin, Jordan.
Hope you
Thanks
don't
for
get
having me
left
on.
out.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cheers.
All right. Peace.
All right.
All right. And
So we're back to Amaru, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but we do have a pinch hitter that's
Oh
going
boy.
to fill Moose's spot. We have Jacob Barber stepped in. A wild Jacob Barber appears. So, yeah. But we're gonna keep the
Jacob,
order
have you
going.
seen half of these movies? You've seen
Right.
I've seen most of these movies.
Okay.
When they're
Good.
heavily geek and Disney, yeah, Jacob can step in. It's actually
Yeah, sure.
I think there's two
Right.
that I haven't seen.
Yeah. Nice.
already
Let me guess. Gone with the Wind and 10 Commandments, right? Is that the two?
Yeah, right.
No, I have seen Gone with the Wind, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's The Sound of
Nice.
Music, maybe?
No, I've seen The Sound of Music.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll
All
keep
right.
the order going. We'll go over to Amadou, and then when we get back around, we'll let Jacob pick when it gets back to him. But Amadou, what do you want to go for?
It's not going to take too long, Henry. I got to keep the S tiers just to fill out this top 10. It is Captain America 3, Captain America Civil War.
There
Did
you
it-
go. The other
Yeah.
Avengers I was hinting at.
It is a Captain America movie.
Yes.
Captain America, for me, the big thing is that, like, really thinking about it, the Captain America trilogy is not only a Captain America trilogy, it's a Captain and Bucky trilogy. It's about Captain and Bucky. The first scene you see Cap in, who comes and saves him? Bucky. What is the entire second movie about? Bucky. And what does this end on for Captain America fighting for Bucky? So yes, you do have the amazing Germany scene. You do have a lot of people being a lot of characters being intertwined beautifully by the Russos as they're basically auditioned to do Endgame in Infinity War. And you have by far some of the best introductions of characters ever. Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, was badass as T'Challa. The greatest Spider-Man live action, the best live action Spider-Man. It's funny, it's action-packed, it's entertaining. It's just everything all and above. Tom Holland is by far better than the other two. But anyway,
Nope.
metal arm.
Nope.
Yep.
The goat's coming back. The goat's coming back.
there's another argument for another day. By the way, I am actively avoiding any Spider-Man No Way Home stuff. I haven't watched the second trailer. I kind of know what's happening, but I will request don't say too much just because I haven't like officially seen things with my eyes.
Same.
Just to say. But anyway, I think Civil War is great. It is a top 5 MCU movie for me, and it's so good. It is just so good, and it does. It makes a really huge epic comic book storyline fit into the MCU, and it makes sense. Somebody was arguing with me that it makes absolutely no sense, and I don't understand it at all. This is the government. Finally, not finally, because BVS tried to do it, but showing the collateral damage of what they're doing. And showing the damage it actually has, and using that as the weight and the stakes, and for things that where they would fight each other, and of course they wouldn't kill each other, the stakes are the Avengers staying together? Are the Avengers going to find a way to come together in the end? And no, they did not. No, they did. Without that, you don't get Infinity War and the effects and how Infinity War ends, because they're not together. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody mentioned that they really liked the subversion, that they weren't all going to get together to fight a final villain in the end. No, they're fighting each other at the end. I love this film to death. I think Civil War is great, so definitely a S-tier film.
Yeah, absolutely. Liz, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm good with it. I mean, I think I feel like the hesitation we're going to run into is 50% of this list, the S tier, if not more, going to just be Marvel movies.
Right.
Because I think, honestly, because this is so, this top 50 is so franchise heavy, and a couple of these franchises we are very actively rejecting. So I think we're looking at that fate, and I think we should just embrace it at this point.
Yes.
Because Civil War slaps.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Austin, what do you think?
Civil War slaps, but not as hard for me. I'm going to give it an A. I like Civil War, but to me, I think I just am a Winter Soldier guy. I think Winter Soldier is the best of the trilogy. I think it's the tighter movie, a little bit more focused, a little bit more contained. It's got a better. It doesn't have the plot holes that Civil War has that bug the shit out of me every time I watch it. I don't like how Civil War just drops the Hydra thing almost immediately. I don't think there's a resolution to that. The stuff with the camera on the tree in the middle of nowhere just bugs me to no end. There's stuff that bugs me that I can't quite put it in the S tier. It's just not as tight. I don't think the performances are as good. I think everything's okay. It's really good. It's an A tier. I can't put it on that S level as something like the original Avengers or Jurassic Park or anything like that. It's just not on that level for me. It's an A.
I'm with you, though.
All right.
But Winter Soldier's not on this list, so.
I know. I wish it was. It should be.
So do I. Yeah, right. Well, you know what? The more and more I think about it, I think that Civil War might be my favorite MCU movie, period. Out of all of them. I love this movie. And my favorite Marvel comic book of all time is the Marvel Civil War storyline, because it's just so deep, and there's so many different issues that you can find. You can find side issues of what every single character's up to, and just all the different themes that they come up with. It's just really, really cool. But for the movie, we really like what you said, Amadou, about the Captain America storyline being about Captain America and Bucky, because Bucky plays a huge part in this too. And one of my favorite scenes is at the very end when it's Cap going up against Iron Man, but then you have Bucky in there just pounding away to where he almost kills Tony Stark, but by pulling the little arc reactor out of his body. It's just crazy. It's a really crazy scene, and it just gets me every time. The music's really great, the way that it's edited just looks really, really cool. It's a pretty powerful scene for me. And then of course you have the airport scene, which is really, really awesome. Literally every single character gets a really cool moment and a time to shine, so that's really awesome. And just seeing all the politics, how it plays in, and some people think kind of differently than what you would have thought they would have thought, as far as the whole Sokovia things, and linking up with the government and all that stuff. So it's some really cool stuff, and some really solid writing, I think. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a solid S tier. It might be at the top of this list for me, possibly. It's neck and neck with Lord of the Rings for me. So I'll say that. Jacob, what do you think for Civil War?
Yeah, I love this movie. This is my favorite MCU movie. I absolutely adore Civil War. I think, it's Avengers 2.5. It's so good. I think the more I watch it, that final fight between Cap and Bucky and Iron Man might be my favorite fight in the entire series. It's so good. Every time I rewatch it, the airport scene is great. And that used to be my favorite fight, but this one, every single time I rewatch it, it just gets better. The whole movie, it just gets better. So definite S tier, in my opinion.
Tony Stark killed his freaking parents. I mean, who would have thought that was coming? But Henry, what do you think?
So the more we talk about this, the more I need to put this in my top 100. I love this movie so much. Like hearing you guys not say everything great about it is like so I know we're gonna talk about Black Panther at some point in this, but as a film, we'll talk about that specifically. But character-wise, this is the best Black Panther we get. Like, he is, oh my god! Like, you killed, I didn't kill your father. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I am on a path for vengeance right now because that's what I'm doing what I got to do right now. He killed my mom. Like, there's so many things like that. Like you said. So, talking about Infinity War earlier, we were talking about in the comparison to End Game, where the more I watch it, the more the third act kind of like brings it down for me. And, we might even talk about that with Black Panther later. The Civil War one, it's so compact and it's so like 1v1 technically, where it's like, it's not just a bunch of like close your eyes and like, A, B, punch, mindless, you know what I mean? There's stakes and, there's so many moments in this movie. Like, we wouldn't have the Vision and Wanda romance and the entire series without this movie. We wouldn't have, small things like Ant-Man and just shows like how he can like really play into like, some cool moments of, getting small and getting big, Giant Man. You know what I mean? There's so many moments in the movie, and you're talking about like Zemo with the villain of, like the scene where it's like, he saw something and that's how smart of a villain is. He was able to find his moment and get it and, really be patient and come up with a plan. Like everyone talks about like the Joker, like, oh, the Joker's plan in the Dark Knight wouldn't work if it wasn't 100% perfect. He set it up to be 100% perfect. Zemo set this plan up to be 100% perfect. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't necessarily pro Hydro. It's anti-Avengers. You know what I mean? And that's what this movie was. So like the airport scene is like, we're not going to kill each other, but we're going to separate and we're going to split as Avengers. And Civil War just does all of that. So the more I think about it, oh God, like I don't want to oversaturate myself personally with MCU movies, but Endgame and Civil War, they're so fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. So
I just really want to read Amaru's Cap Bucky fan fiction now.
Yeah,
I feel like you really get their relationship and you're really invested in it, and I just want to read about them tenderly embracing each other now.
right. Be down for that, but Liz, I guess you're up next. So what do you want to go for?
I feel like I've got to represent my gender, and I've got to also. I mean, speaking of tenderly embracing, we gotta get Titanic into that S tier.
All right.
I mean, it is a long ass movie. It is. There are some elements of that film that do not work. I am specifically referring to the dialogue. It is infamously one of the few Best Picture winners that was not even nominated for Best Screenplay. And yet it's a hell of a movie. It just works so well. And the ways in which it works so well, like, it's really funny to rewatch the movie Pearl Harbor, thinking about Michael Bay watching Titanic in 1997 and going, I want to do that. I want to win Oscars. And then basically trying to reverse engineer Titanic as Pearl Harbor, which is such a colossal mistake and such a colossal flop on every level. Point is that Titanic rules, and y'all can suck it if you disagree.
Sure.
That is my careful and measured critical analysis of that film.
All right. We'll see what everyone thinks. Austin?
Mm-hmm. No, Liz, when this movie has come up on tournament fights and tier ranker fights in the past on this channel, like, I've been one of the defenders of Titanic. I think it's a really good movie, and I've defended the fact that it's a good movie, and we need to get over this nonsense about, it's just this sappy Leo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet. No, like, it's a good movie. Like, it's a really good movie, and we need to get the F over it, like, and realize that it is. And I know there was a backlash on it, but I think people are coming back around to it. And for me, as a disaster movie fan, I think the last hour and a half of this movie is like one of the best disaster movies ever made, like, ever. And I think a lot of the set pieces are fantastic. All the practical stuff in the movie is great, and it just knocks you out every time you go back to it. I think James Cameron just kills it with the direction of this movie. And yeah, sure, the script is a little wonky. There's a lot of Rose and Jack. That's because literally on the set they just were kind of improvising their way through the script. From when you go back and see, like, you know, some of these moments weren't really scripted out entirely, and it is what it is. But I think a lot of the good definitely outweighs the bad on Titanic, and I'm perfectly fine with it being in the S tier. I think it deserves to be there. There's a reason why it was the highest grossing movie for the longest time. So yeah, Titanic, S tier. Let's do it.
Well, Austin, I don't like this movie because it is a sappy Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet thing. It is.
No, it's
like
not.
It's just
It
like
is not.
like. Well, I'm gonna give this movie a D. I'm not a fan of Titanic. Like, the only reason why I'm not gonna give it an F is because I do appreciate the set pieces.
What?
Like, the set pieces are like some of the most incredible set pieces ever put to film. So I can appreciate that. But besides that, though, I was just bored to tears. There's just nothing like redeeming about this movie. You already know the ending, and there was room for.
I'm sorry. You know the ending. My bad.
Yeah,
Read a history book. My bad.
Well, yeah, a lot of movies where you know the ending, but even so, like, it's just like just boring. Like in the whole, like, will you draw me like one of your girls or whatever? But it's like there's just so many cheesy scenes, like
French
when they're
girls.
You know, I'm gonna point out
like,
here that just because not every scene in a movie is like immediately appealing just to you specifically, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
I have watched. There are some movies. There are movies on this list that I've like. This is not this, and not every element of this is geared specifically for my.
Yeah,
enjoyment.
I'm sorry
And
it doesn't
I'm
have
not gonna-
action figures mashing against each other and shooting lasers at each other, but it's a damn good movie. My apologies.
But sure doesn't, and it shows, like, for sure. But it needs more of that kind of stuff. That would have made it a
Needs
much
more
more
action
entertaining movie.
figures.
Because I watch movies to be
Yeah.
entertained. I do appreciate good writing and good storytelling and like all that other stuff. I do. So like I will say that, like, it's probably not a bad movie. Like, I appreciate why everybody likes it. I do, but for me personally, I just can't go back to it. It's just way too long. It just really just isn't for me. So like I got to stick with a D. I got to be true.
It's
to myself.
shorter than
So
Return of
that's
the
what I think
King.
about it.
It's shorter than
Yeah.
Endgame, but that's okay. It's too long.
Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah, those movies are like infinitely more entertaining. There's just so much more.
Yeah, because they have more
more to
action
watch.
figures smashing against each other.
You actually
Yeah.
feel the length when you watch Titanic. You don't feel it when you watch the other movies. So.
I feel it when I watch Endgame. I don't feel it with Titanic.
I mean, Titanic.
That's you.
the thing
You're one of
with
those weird ones that doesn't like Endgame. So.
Well, the thing with Endgame is that it's.
I didn't
really
say I didn't like
basically
Endgame. I put it in a B tier. If I didn't like it, I put it in the D tier, like you're putting Titanic.
Well, then, like,
Oh,
you
no.
don't appreciate it as much as everyone else. I'll say that. But yeah, Jacob, what do you think?
You know, I was all prepared to give it an A tier because I really do enjoy this movie. But now, just to spite Jordan, I'm going S tier.
All right.
Yay!
It's S tier.
I see how it is. I see.
It's
All
not
right.
one that I revisit as often as I
So what happens
should,
when your
but
favorite movie
you know,
comes
I might go revisit it a lot more now. It really is. I really do think it's a very solid movie, and it's definitely not D tier. It's a really well made film. You know, and it's a wonderful watch.
Yeah. I want you to walk up to Victor Garber and tell him it's a garbage movie. He gives the performance of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah,
I just keep it to myself, but I still have my opinions.
Where's Christian Slater when we need it? We really need to pump up the volume on this because Titanic is not E tier. Come on, dude. So look, once again, I'm prefacing a lot of these. I'd only seen it one time because it's one of those on paper, like, this is such a Henry movie, and I didn't want it to disappoint me. You know what I mean? So when I finally watched it, I'm like, it didn't. This movie is amazing. So, but on my rewatch now, I'm afraid to watch it because I'm like, I don't want to put a movie like this in my top 20 after only 2 views. So I'm afraid. So it's one of those where it's like, it's so good. Like, I didn't realize there was so much like present day parts of it. Because when you think of this movie, you think of quote unquote the memes. You think of there was room on the door. You think
There
of
was room on the door.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there for this point.
See?
Yes,
Another
there
point.
definitely was. But my point is, you think of that stuff when you think of this movie. Like, you don't think of movies like Titanic or Forrest Gump where it's like you have the quote unquote the meme level portions of the movie. The memes don't outweigh the fantastic moments. Like Austin said, the last hour and a half hour, once you get to the climax, which it's a long climax, granted, because it's well deserved, because it's really important. You know what I mean? Like once you get to that point, like it is like take all the romance and the sap and the YA level types of writing that you could have had before that out of it. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things like it holds up. You know what I mean? So like the fact that you didn't have the same exact thought process for Gone with the Wind that you had with Titanic just shows that you're just going anti-meme for this one, and that's upsetting.
Yeah.
Titanic deserves all the praise that it's got. It's worth the hype. Yes, Leonardo DiCaprio is sexy as fuck. He deserves to, you know what I mean? Like he's a heartthrob, and that's fine. I'm not jealous. I want him to paint me as well. You know what I mean? Like that's fine. You know what I mean? Like do it, dude. Like I'm not gonna hate on the film just because it's so great. And it's one of those like if you've ever avoided it because of the runtime, because of the hype, it may not be a top 100 movie or a top number one. Like it's my sister's favorite movie of all time, and that was also scary because that it added to the pressure. But it really is as good as advertised, if not, really, really close. Definitely not D tier. So S tier all the way.
All right. Mm-hmm. Well, Amadou, what do you think?
So this one's weird for me.
TNT, the romance. Let's go.
For the longest time, I did not like this movie, or at least I thought I did not like this movie, and then I realized it's only because I loathe My Heart Will Go On. I can't stand that song.
I will give you that.
Anytime I hear that song, I just go, no, shut it up. So I've had to begin to look back to when I first saw it. I saw it in theaters. And then we bought the VHS, and that was my first two VHS movie.
Yeah, that double VHS set. Yeah.
I know the exact moment it cuts off and goes to the second one. It's when they first see the iceberg, and the driver's like, "What are we going to do?" And it's go to second one, and I have to go back and say, you know what? No, this is a very, very good film. I did enjoy it. It's just my hate for that song has sullied it. So I also go the other way and say, you know what? Without Titanic, we don't have that absolutely amazing Steve Harvey bit about Earth, Wind, and Fire being on the boat. Like, let's go. Let's get out of here from original King comedy. And I love that stand-up bit. So for me, I'm going to have it at A tier. This is not an S tier movie for me, but it is a very, very good film.
Yeah. Well, like, I don't really want my movie to really drag it down because I know you all love it. Just one of those personal things. So I mean, yeah, like I'm still gonna leave it there, but I think it might end up in the A tier. I don't know.
Four S tier votes usually guarantees an S tier, pretty much no matter what. Like if we have 4 out of 6, that's pretty much an S tier. It might end up in the bottom of S tier, but it's still usually 4 is enough to get it in there.
Yeah, and I understand
even if the other 2 votes are not good.
So.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah. That works for me.
I'm just thinking about like the terrible disco remixes of My Heart Will Go On that played in disco dances.
Once again, it's part of the memes. It's the meme culture, and that sucks. It really it a negative connotation in the memories of it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was the same way when I saw it when I was like 13 or whatever. But I'm 35 now. I can get past all that like bullshit that I used to think and like appreciate the movie for being a great movie. You know what I mean? Like when you mature, you can go back and watch it. And it's really good.
It is. There's like a striking note.
I'm already 36, so and I haven't bumped it up yet. So yeah, so sorry, not quite, but
yeah.
But Austin, you're up next. So
there's a franchise we're ignoring that has a pretty obvious S tier one in here, and that's the one that started the damn franchise, and that's Star Wars: A New Hope. That easily should be in the S tier. So I mean, So
here you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's the movie that inspired a generation of filmmakers to go into film. It's the movie that changed the blockbuster. It's the movie that changed the science fiction genre. I mean, you name it. It's the movie that that did it all, that kind of cemented, what a blockbuster really could be, kind of after Jaws, and one that would get re-released literally, every other year, just people lining up for days, seeing it dozens of times. I didn't get a chance to see it in the original run. I'm not old enough. The first time I saw it in the theater was the special edition, but I had the VHS tapes when I was a kid. I made Legos, Lego X-Wings, and crashed them during the Battle of Yavin, every time I would watch it. It's been such a part of my childhood, of my life. I mean, Star Wars is Star Wars, and if we're gonna have a Star Wars movie on here, I mean, it's the OG. It's A New Hope. It still works, and it's great. So I think Star Wars should be in the S tier to kind of represent the franchise.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm not going to argue with an S tier. Like I think that it for sure belongs in the S tier. There are some little kind of nitpicky things that I do have. Like I do think that like some of the effects feel a little dated. I feel like some of the lightsaber battles are kind of clunky, but it's a product of its time. That's the thing. You got to put yourself in the time frame, and for the time, like it was absolutely incredible. Like it was an incredible feat, an incredible like cinematic, like almost masterpiece that they made for the sci-fi fantasy action movie, whatever you want to call it, and yeah, like it for sure, and also too. I think Star Wars almost over any movie ever made is ingrained into pop culture, just like more than anything. Like it just means a lot to so many people, and so yeah, I think that like it definitely deserves a spot in the S tier. So, Jacob, what do you think?
Oh yeah, definite S tier. Of all the Star Wars movies that are on this list, I think this is the most deserving of an S tier. Yeah, no, it was a great introduction to all these characters. It's still relevant, nearly 45 years later. People are still, Star Wars nerds. Like you just said, Jordan, it's ingrained in pop culture. And Darth Vader is like top 3 movie villains of all time. Like,
oh yeah,
there's a case to be made for number 1, I think. But yeah, easy S tier for me. Got no problem with that.
Yeah.
So
Henry?
it's one of those things where, like, because of like the Schmodown and like fan leagues and stuff, where the geek culture has taken over in terms of like fandoms of the geek level stuff. It's hard to say that I'm a Star Wars fan in comparison to the people that watch it 4 times a week each movie. You know what I mean? It's what you know what I mean. So like, I love Star Wars, and taking myself out of it, I would consider myself a Star Wars fan. So I'm prefacing that by saying this isn't a top tier Star Wars movie, and I'm hoping that people following potentially directly after me agree, because I kind of know. And it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like if we're only going to pick one, which that's not the rules by any means, but we're starting to get to that point where the S tier is getting limited. I would rather pick a different one from this franchise for the S tier. So I would give it an A because of the cultural impact and because there's a lot that holds up. But because there is, in fact, stuff that doesn't hold up, and there is, in fact, stuff that might be technically remade later on that does it better, I would rather have that in the S tier. So I will give Star Wars A New Hope A tier, because there is no reason to knock it culturally and the impact it does have, but I feel like it gets done better later.
Yeah. Fair enough. Amaru, what do you think?
There are 4 other Star Wars films on this list, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I would put 2. I would put 2 of those films above A New Hope.
Let me see.
I wonder which one.
I only count 3. Oh, 4. Yeah, okay.
2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would put
Star
none
Wars
of them
are
above
not-
New Hope. None of them.
Actually, I would. Actually, there's 5 Star Wars films, and there's
5.
3 of them. There's 3 of them I would put above New Hope. Technically,
Okay.
Star Wars is cool, but it's not like my bag. It's not like my big thing. And the OG Star Wars, as great as they are, they're really not my bag. I don't dislike them, but I just like they're a little bit more boring to me. I don't relate to them as well. I understand their significance, and I can see why people consider them great. Empire is amazing. That's the only OG one I have in my top 3. A New Hope is not up there. I would give this a B tier.
All right, B tier. Okay. Liz, what do you think?
That's even lower.
S tier, y'all crazy.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. We're out of your fucking minds.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to hearing what Star Wars movies you would rank above this one. I mean, they're good movies on this list, but yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's Star Wars, man. It's the Star Wars, really. Like, you know, when you instinctively think Star Wars, like that's what you think. Yeah. I'm good with an S tier.
Yeah. Well, I think with like mostly S's, we had an A and a B there, but I think that it might stay at the bottom of the S tier.
Mhm.
That sounds about right. So we'll leave it there for now. We'll see if anything overtakes it, but
6, 7, oof.
But I guess I'm up next. So I want to go with the franchise we haven't touched on yet, just because
Frozen.
the one that they're like no.
Yeah, right.
No. No.
Fast and Furious. Little Furious 7 in the S tier? No.
He's going Harry Potter. I can tell it.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. He's going Harry Potter. I know.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 because that movie is my favorite of the entire franchise. So that's why I gotta go for it. Like I'm not a huge fan of every single movie in the series, but I do like all of them. But Deathly Hallows, man. Like from the very first moment that I saw the trailer for the Deathly Hallows, I actually posted it earlier today because that trailer is just so incredible. It just got me just like hyped up for it. I looked up all the music, like I rewatched that thing so many times, and then the movie it just like it delivers on like all levels because there's actual stakes here. Like you actually like have stakes with Professor Snape. You see other characters die, like one of the Weasley twins. You see like Neville Longbottom, all these characters, and then just how perfectly cast this entire franchise is. But then when it all culminates in this giant battle, it's like this is what I've been waiting for. Like ever since reading all the books that I got almost every one at the midnight releases. Like I don't know if there's any other book series where I actually stood in line for a midnight release for a book. So yeah, like the Deathly Hallows.
What a nerd!
So I know, yeah, huge nerd. I know. But I'm proud of me. So, but yeah, like it's just this movie's just really cool, and I do like that it gets a lot more gritty too. So like it kind of like you have it where the series gets gritty with the third one, and then kind of gets a little lighthearted, kind of, and then back to even more gritty. So yeah, I'm gonna say S tier. Jacob, what do you think?
This is a solid A for me. I think the entire series has like one S tier movie in my opinion, and that's Prisoner of Azkaban. That's my favorite. But the rest of the series for me is like A to like. There's only one that I would put like low B. So that's where the series is for me. But yeah, Deathly Hallows Part 2. I think it's a definite solid A tier movie. I think it's a great conclusion to the series. But I can't quite get it to the S tier. Not only because we only have 3 spots left, but it's just right. it's just not like it's this close to me, but not quite. I will solid A.
So I want to clarify. This is the only Harry Potter that's eligible, right? It's the only one that's top 50.
Yep. Yeah, it's the only one.
Yep, it's the only one there.
This is my number 2 Harry Potter, so it's not like I'm saying that in like a negative thing, but I just wanted to double check because I am gonna go S tier, but it's it's my second favorite one because when I did a rewatch of the entire franchise, I'm like, yo, Harry Potter and Rocky are like, when it comes to like percentage wise of like the franchise that like hits for me, these are the two where it's like I don't have the fact that Jacob just said he's like all of them are like S or A and then 1B, and I'm like, you're right. You know what I mean? Like, as I rewatched them, initially I thought like Deathly Hallows Part 1 was like slow and boring. I'm like, yo, this movie's amazing. So in theory, if they would have taken the Return of the King route and just did Deathly Hallows as one entire movie, that would be a top 5 movie for me all time. Like that would be my top 100, top 5. You know what I mean? Like that story, if they were able to compact that, it's so amazing. So like this is the highlight version of this is the SportsCenter top 10 version of the Deathly Hallows. And then part 1 is like the one where it's like, oh, if you watch the entire episode of Sports Center, you get all the, you know what I mean? It's one of those where it's like, as a whole, it is amazing. So yes, there is no doubt. And I agree. Prisoner of Azkaban is my number 1. And that is the one that is in my top 100 because I love the movies. I also read the books and I don't read often, probably because I can't read. So it's one of those ones like, oh, thank you. You know, my babysitter read them to me. So it's like, I love this franchise and it's great. And, you know, since there's only one representative, Deathly Hallows Part 2, easy S tier for me. Mid tier, bottom tier, top tier. I don't care. As long as it's on there, I'll be happy.
Yeah. And I know that there's one other person on the panel who's not a huge Harry Potter fan, so I'm curious to see what they have to say. We'll get
I wonder who that is.
But gee,
Yeah.
but Amadou, what do you think for
I mean,
the Deathly Hallows Part 2?
You see the picnic blanket back here. This is my bag.
Yeah.
This is 100% my bag.
Yeah.
However, I do realize that quality-wise, they all hit. However, I don't have Deathly Hallows Part 2 up there as much. Prince of Azkaban is definitely my favorite, and I think there's maybe about 2 or 3 more before I hit Part 2. And it kind of switches all the time. It's really just it really is just for me. It's Prince of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire. Half-Blood Prince is actually snuck up there and got my solid 3. And then I'm like, Order of the Phoenix Part 2 are kind of back and forth all the time. And Deathly Hallows Part 1 kind of, I still think that middle part of Deathly Hallows Part 1 just drags it to hell. But so for me, I'm saying that to try to figure out whether or not I'm putting it as a B or an A. Because not many Harry Potter films for me will be an S. They would land solidly between the A and the B category. And I'm trying to talk myself to figure out whether or not it's high B or a low A. I'll say A. I'll say it's a A for me.
John Coffey's proud.
Yeah. Sounds good. Liz, what do you think?
Well, my personal Harry Potter ranking kind of goes. It's probably Azkaban at number 1,
As long as we agree on that.
then the scene in Deathly Hallows Part 1 where they dance in Nick Cave, and then after that it's all the David Tennant scenes from Goblet of Fire, and then kind of much lower down on the list is Deathly Hallows Part 2, and I'm just gonna make sure to mention that. As bad as that coda was in print, it was even worse on screen. Like they tried their gosh darn hardest. The old age makeup, the aging up wasn't that bad, or it could have been worse. It could have been worse. We've all seen worse. My point is
That's my least
that
favorite part. Yeah,
I would struggle personal. I will be fine with this hitting on the S tier if it happens. I personally would put it at a B.
All right. Yeah. Well, Austin, let's see you drag it down.
I'm not a Harry Potter fan like at all. I've watched all the movies. I've seen all the movies. They're all incredibly boring. I've watched them out of, the fact that I need to watch them. I will say the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is probably the most purely entertaining for me because at least there's some stuff going on. There's some Lord of the Rings type assault on the fortress going on, you know what I mean? With wizardry, so there's at least something going on. You got Warwick Davis, throwing his wand up for the force field. Like, I'm down with all that. That's fun. It's probably the most purely blockbuster entertaining for me. I actually went and saw the midnight show of it just because it was something to do that night. It was fine. It was entertaining enough. It's a C. Probably the most entertaining. I would give all the other ones worse scores, so you guys are lucky on this one. I'll give it a C.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought we were friends, man.
Austin, I'll give this. Austin, I'll give this to you.
From Henry.
Gary Oldman's performance is definitely better than Alan Rickman's performance, and you won that round. Just
yeah, thank you, I did win that round. Cool. Yeah, I got one of the points on the judging on that one. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it goes back to our battleground match we had, so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I won that match, by the way, but but not.
You did because you won that round.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah, I know.
Well, We got two S votes. We got a C, a B,
Two
and
A,
an A. So maybe, right?
Yeah. Kind of low A, maybe. Yeah,
I
mean, low A is
like a
fair.
low A.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Sounds good. But yeah, so
it could make the honorable mentions. It could make the honorable mentions still. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll see. But we're over to Jacob. So you want to finally pick one?
Finally.
We've been waiting, Jacob. Let's go.
Yeah. Right.
Well, see, this is my first time looking at the list. Let me just, I have a choice.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with The Lion King, not 2019.
The remake, right? No.
The 1994 animated version of The Lion King. I think this is definite S tier. I think this is Disney's best. Definitely a big part of my childhood. I watched this nearly every day before kindergarten, and I would get on the bus crying because Mufasa just died.
Yeah.
And back when I had half day kindergarten, I was living with my grandma at the time, and so she's like, "No, just go put on a movie and leave me alone while I watch Maury Povich." I'm pretty sure Maury was in 95 actually, but I love this movie. I think the music is fantastic. I think the voice casting is incredible. The animation is beautiful. I think it's nearly a perfect animated film. I think it deserves to be in the S tier.
Yeah, for sure.
So I love The Lion King. Like it's a 5-star movie for me. It's not quite top 100, but like it's a top tier animated film for me. Which I'm not heavily on the animated film, so the ones that are there are there, like hardcore. So this was, I wouldn't vote for this personally because not anything negative against it, but there was just other ones that I would want to show love for, like even Gone with the Wind. I would rather give that an A than bring this one up. So I'm not going to argue S tier for it. Fantastic. The songs are amazing. Mufasa's arc, death, comeback, all of that stuff. Scar, fantastic. The fact that people hate the live action version of Scar because it's not the animated version is a testament of how amazing the animated version is and how Jeremy Irons just brings it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, it's not necessarily like Chiwetel Ejiofor, like we might get to that later, but it's not like he did bad. It's just he's no Jeremy Irons for a reason because of what the animated version does. And like I said, the songs are great. There's fart jokes in this movie and no one really, no pun intended, shits on it for it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, because it's the quirks and the charm and the the love that you have for these characters, it's all there. So yes, no arguments for me. S tier, mid, top, I don't care. S tier, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Yep, and for the music too. So yeah. Yeah.
S tier for me.
But Amadou, what do you think?
This is not my favorite. This is not my favorite Disney animated picture. But it was going to be my next pick. So thank you, Jacob, so I can pick something else. This is an S tier movie. Hands down.
Yep. Liz, what do you think?
I'm glad you mentioned the voice casting because it is all really good. I feel like we don't talk ever about the fact that Moira Kelly is actually a very good Nala. I'm glad that I'm not going to say that it was wrong to cast Beyonce, but Moira Kelly was great.
Yeah.
Also, I had once
that's for Beyonce, not Moira Kelly, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yes.
Sorry.
This is maybe braggy, but whatever. I got to interview Nathan Lane last year,
Nice.
and it was in a nice long extended interview. And he talked about the process of doing the Lion King and how he really found the character with the actor who played Pumbaa, and a lot of what they did. A lot of what ended up in the film was kind of based on them riffing with each other. It's all very nice and wholesome, and so yeah, I'm good with it in the S tier. It is iconic for a reason.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, it was really hard in me and Jacob's battleground match for me to argue against the Lion King because I was arguing for Beauty and the Beast, and I was trying to like find the flaws. But actually, it's funny you brought up the fart jokes because that's what kind of put me over the top and got me the points on that one because I brought that up. Yeah, so
my number 2 also, Austin.
oh no, I know. I mean, it's like I mean, it's hard to argue against Lion King, and that's what I hated about that was arguing against a really good movie. And yeah, I think if we're gonna have any of the Disney animated features that are on this list, I think it's definitely got to be 94 Lion King. It's not quite a perfect movie, but it's about as close to great Disney as you're going to get. I mean, it's right up there with Beauty and the Beast, with Aladdin. That whole 90s Renaissance was just incredible. Just one great movie after another. I kind of wish something like Beauty and the Beast or the original Aladdin, not the remake Aladdin, was on this list because I might put those just a little bit higher for me personally. But I have no problem with Lion King being the S tier. It's great stuff.
Yeah, like I think S tier for sure for the Lion King. Like Lion King is not my number 1, but it's definitely top 3 for sure. But The Circle of Life though is my favorite song from a Disney movie. And I'll fight anybody on that because I freaking love that song. So like just the whole story, like all the voice acting, and I also love how the old school animated Disney movies, how they didn't really advertise who was voicing all the characters. So as a kid, like watching, like I wasn't putting a face to all these characters. I was just like really immersed in the characters, and I really like how they did that. They don't really do that so much now. They make a big show, like who's voicing this character, who's voicing that character. So it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. So like I had a really good time, and then when I grew up a little bit, I actually did a little research into who actually did all the voices. So that was fun to discover them kind of later on. But yeah, The Lion King is just a really cool story. It's a lot of fun. It's got humor. It's got heart. It's got like some action. Like it's got a lot of really cool stuff. Some even kind of like borderline and kind of horror stuff. If you're a kid, and like some of the Scar stuff can be a little scary for little kids. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with the S tier. Absolutely.
Did you all
Shout out to Jason. Go ahead, Liz.
Oh, sorry. Did y'all see that that birthday cake that made the rounds on Twitter and whatnot? Which it was this parent posted a picture of a cake that their 3-year-old had asked them to make, and the 3-year-old was like, "Please make me a cake of Mufasa's death scene." Everyone will see it and be too sad to eat it. And in fact, it's a very good cake where like Simba is at the top of the cake looking down at his dead father.
Oh gosh!
Their little claw marks in the fondant. It's hilarious. If you Google Lion King birthday cake, I imagine somebody.
That's when you know you can see the big picture. You're like, no one's gonna eat my cake.
Yeah, that 3-year-old will one day be president of the United States. They know how to get what they want.
I can't speak Lion King without giving a shout out to Jason Weaver being the singing voice of young
Simba.
Nobody
smart guy. He's a smart guy.
Oh
yeah.
That's who it is. Okay, nice.
Shout out to Jason.
Well, not the actual smart guy. Smart guy's brother, but yeah. Jason Weaver's
brother. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also want to point out in the comments too, like it's also retelling a Hamlet too, so I think that's cool. So yeah.
I know some people who argue otherwise, but hey.
Yeah, sure. Right. Like loosely kind of.
Going over to Henry. What do you got next? Maybe our final. This is probably going to be our final regular round before we jump into the Hail Marys, just to let you guys know as we get up at the top of the ladder. So yeah.
So like
Henry, what do you got?
For me personally, there's only 3 movies left that I would like actively want to discuss. So that makes it even harder because this is potentially the only one that we're going to be able to talk, at full length. And I feel like this one deserves the most discussion because at this point, you either are all in or you're low-key not. And I'm going to go Joker as an episode. Because what this film was able to do of bringing superhero / comic book material films to the mainstream of being R-rated, being grounded. Obviously, like the Dark Knight did it, but like you still have people in suits. Like, granted, he was in suits, but like especially like given the time has come, like riots and stuff. Like, it's one of those things where it's like it has its moments where it's like it's not, you don't necessarily think of it as a one-for-one like superhero in comic books. You know what I mean? It still doesn't. It still has a little bit of separation, but like everything that's telling, like it has like a bullying message. It has a just mental health message, which is important, especially for like nowadays where mental health has just become in the foreground of like for everyone, where it's super important that you just need to acknowledge that it exists and like how you can impact people's lives who deal with mental health issues or could develop them in the future based on the way you deal with them. So like everything that it goes with, it's like Arthur Fleck's character, he's not really that bad of a person to start up. Like, sure, does he have deep down the darkness within him? You know what I mean? Kind of like Dexter, like in the TV series. So it's like, like at his heart, he could be a decent person and he's got potential, but enough, like you get beat down enough, like eventually you're going to snap. And that's unfortunate, but that's where the mental health, aspect comes into for the storytelling, where it's like, I really feel like it's crazy to say that Todd Phillips made this movie, but he did. You know what I mean? Like it's like he did a fantastic job with this. And it's like, Martin Scorsese didn't have his hand in it, but whether he was inspiration or he was producing, who knows? At the end of the day, really, was he just a name on it, or did he actually like have any words? But people can diss it like, oh, it's a Taxi Driver / King of Comedy remake / rehash / retelling. Like, sure, whatever. But like Reservoir Dogs for Tarantino is a remake of what, City on Fire or whatever. But like at the end of the day, it's still a fantastic movie in its own right. And Joker is just that. Like Arthur Fleck's character, the fact, it ties into Batman and blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, but within the story, it doesn't actually. But his mother having that mental health issues as well carries down in a hereditary, aspect that like carries on to him and makes him think that he is, intertwined with Thomas Wayne and and essentially Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like smartly written that it connects, but it's not really connecting. You know what I mean? And I feel like it just does so much well that I feel like people underrate because they want to overrate it as a whole. And it's really sad that, because this movie is fantastic. Joaquin Phoenix, he's not Heath Ledger, obviously. Heath Ledger, GOAT tier comic book performance, movie performance, but Joaquin Phoenix does an amazing job. His spin on the Joker is fantastic, and I really do think Joker deserves to be in the S level talk.
Yeah, for sure, totally. Amadou, what do you think?
I saw this movie in theaters twice. I really liked it when I watched it. Looking back at it, I think I liked Joaquin's performance a lot. I think it's an S tier performance. I think he deserved the Oscar. He was amazing. The movie as a whole, it's good. It's good. I think it's a little heavy-handed, a little too dark for my liking, which is usually a lot. It takes a lot for me to say something is a little too dark. And I'm not going to say too dark for my liking. It's just too dark for me to have it as high as I did when I first saw it. So for me, I think it's a solid B, probably a higher B, close to an A. And if it got to an A, I wouldn't mind it at all. But so yeah, I'm gonna say a B.
All right, yeah, sounds good. Liz, what do you think?
So, I have a really hard time taking this movie seriously, and so I want to start off by saying that I have a deeply held respect for the fact that this movie exists. Like Marvel would never do this, and I genuinely respect the fact that they allowed that this movie happened, and that it is such a unique take on this character. Like, I mean, and to the point where I literally did not think that there was anything more to say about the Joker, and this movie did find a way into that. Like, it did find a new angle on the character. That being said, there's a lot to nitpick with it, from the whole existence of Zazie Beetz' character, or lack thereof, to the fact that they managed to find yet again a way to kill Bruce Wayne's parents. Guys, I don't know if you heard, but some bad stuff went down with Bruce Wayne's parents. Not good. They're not alive
Really?
anymore.
I didn't know that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll start my next movie, with my next Batman movie, with a scene where it's for me it was. I really respect the fact that it exists. It's a hard movie for me to take seriously for some of the stuff I already mentioned. For a lot of other reasons, I am actually kind of deeply troubled by the fact that someone would. I don't know how much y'all know about Gary Glitter, but not a good guy. Did some very bad things, and he gets royalties for the use of Rock and Roll Part 2, and you could use.
No, he doesn't.
He does not.
He doesn't anymore. No, he does not.
Okay, that's good to know.
He's in jail because he's in jail. He does not get royalties for rock and roll.
But I'm still saying, but still the choice of using that song is you can use literally any song in the world. You don't need to use that one.
Yeah.
But this is all nitpicky stuff. I have no beef with the movie, but I would put it at a B.
Yeah, fair enough. Austin, what do you think?
I'm with Henry. I think this is S level, and I've always said that since I saw the movie 3 times in the theater. I think it's incredibly well done. I think. So what if it takes from Taxi Driver? Yeah, a lot of movies take from a lot of movies. Magnificent Seven is a Seven Samurai remake. Fistful of Dollars is a Joe Jimbo remake. So what? Observe and Report takes from Taxi Driver. Who cares? Look, there's movies that take a little bit of everything from everything. So I mean, it's just because it takes a little bit of influence from other movies, you take from a lot, it's research. You take from one movie, it's plagiarism. Okay, and this movie takes a lot from lots of 70s and 80s material, and I think not only is Joaquin Phoenix incredible, I think the script is fantastic. There are lines that just hit hard in this movie. Like there's stuff where the one line where he just says, "I haven't had a single happy moment in my entire fucking life." That is hard, man. It's hard, and the fact that it's dealing with mental illness and dealing with depression in this sort of comic book way, but it's like the most grounded comic book movie I may have ever seen. And you're right, Marvel will never touch anything like this, and I'm so glad that DC has these type of characters that they can dive into. It's a completely different approach of the Joker. It's completely unique in that aspect, and I think it deserves all the praise that it gets. It's shot well too. The cinematography is incredible. The fact that Todd Phillips made this, same guy that made The Hangover 2 and 3, made this movie. Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. So, Joker S tier. I'm with Henry in this one.
Yeah.
Praise Jesus.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Austin. Especially when you just talked about some of the lines from the movie too. Like I haven't had a single happy moment in my entire life. The first time that I saw that line in the trailer when it came out, it just really got to me. Like I literally kind of felt for him, just because I've known a lot of people that have been through serious depression. I mean, I haven't really had depression, but I've had some other kind of mental things that I've had to deal with too. But this movie, I just applaud it for just dealing with all these really dark themes that a lot of movies that are like this are just too afraid to deal with them. They won't even go there, and so it's just I wouldn't go as far to say that it's a masterpiece or anything, but I think that it definitely deserves a spot in the S tier. And I was the same way. I saw it 3 times in theaters, and I had a good time with it. Fun really isn't the right word to use here, but it was enough to make me want to go see it 3 times. So I mean, I was just blown away by it. So
it's engaging.
Yeah, right. It's very engaging. So I want to give it an S tier, but I'm going to give it probably a lower S tier. So I think for me, it just squeaks into the S tier. So
that's fine. It's up to Jacob.
Yeah. What do you think?
I'm struggling between an A.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm struggling between an A and an S. I think Joaquin Phoenix's performance, is an S level performance. Like Amaru said, wonderful performance. But you know, when I think S tier, for me personally, I think, you know, rewatchability. And for me, like, the desire to go back and watch Joker just isn't there like it is with some of these other movies. I think it's a really well made movie. And you know, it is, you know, some of the dialogue, it is a wonder, like a great, you know, what people can drive you to do mentally, like if they can just like they just hound on you and treat you like, you know, dirt. And like, I think it's a wonderful message of that. But for me, I'm gonna go high A. Like, I do think, like I said, it's well made, but like that rewatchability just isn't there for me personally.
Jacob, you just reminded me of so a couple people said Marvel wouldn't go there. I feel like they did in a different way, in a better way, when they did it with Logan. Logan hits some of the same stuff in a me a better way, at least in terms of like Alzheimer's, dementia, old age, stuff like that. So yeah, just wanted to say that. I think Logan kind of hits that same
Well,
level.
that's also Fox, not Disney. That's not MCU.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Disney would never touch something like this.
I was
Ever.
thinking Marvel.
Yeah.
Disney would
when I made my statement, I was referring specifically to the MCU because I do agree Logan is a great film.
Yeah.
You all are very correct.
Yeah.
Everyone's right about everything.
Right.
Except for Jordan when he was talking about Titanic, but yeah.
Yeah.
Of course not. They made the S and not the D tier. Yeah. But this movie we got 3 S's, an A, and a couple B's. So I think that it just squeaks into the S. I feel like because we had a majority of S's.
I feel like that would be the first out if another S is clearly.
It would be the first out if something gets 4 S votes. It'll be the first one out into the top of A tier. But we'll kind of see where it lands because it might squeak over the border for now.
One of my
but
other
it might probably get bumped.
that I was considering, I won't be mad. I took a risk. I knew Joker was worth the conversation, and I really liked the conversation we had, so it was worth it.
Definitely a lot to talk about with that movie for sure. But Amadou, you're up next. So what do you want to go for?
TNT knows I'm ready. Let's go, baby.
Is this Hail Mary? Is this Hail Mary round, or is this like
not really? We have a different way of doing Hail Mary yet, but so you can just do a regular pick now. I'll explain there. Like we have a different way of doing it now. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that has made my decision for me then. That has made my decision for me then. I can hold off on this other movie that I have to talk about, and then if I have to Hail Mary it because it's gonna be. I feel like this will get skipped over. Hopefully, if we're still talking, somebody else will get my other one before going Hail Mary because I have 2 Hail Marys I want to talk about. But I got to get Toy Story 3 in there. Toy Story 3.
Deep break time. I'll be back.
Toy Story 3 is absolutely amazing. It is not my favorite Toy Story. I do not think it is the best, but I think that every single one of them deserves S tier. Maybe Toy Story is an A. Sorry, not 4. We're not including 4. I'm talking about the trilogy. But Toy Story 3, it just hits home. It is a great conclusion. We all know that the furnace scene makes everybody cry, but it continues to go into it creates a great villain with Lotso. It continues to really hit home about what you're gonna do as you're growing up. Continues to embrace that Buzz is the comedic relief of this franchise, and he's so good as the comedic relief of this franchise. Before Toy Story 4 puts him to the side as much, even though I like Toy Story 4. I think Toy Story 3 is an amazing picture. Pixar at some of its best, knowing how to appeal to adults and children. And I think the Toy Story franchise gets away with telling the same story in different ways, and it's all amazing. So I love it because I love putting it in Sunnyside daycare. So yeah, Toy Story S tier for me. Toy Story 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Liz, what do you think?
I'll just say that Michael Keaton plays the voice of Ken, and for that, it's S tier.
Sure, yeah.
And also, it's a very, very good movie.
Yeah.
But Michael Keaton.
Yep, you don't really need to say much more. Austin?
Yeah, is it one of those things, Amaru, like Lord of the Rings, where like Toy Story 2 is my favorite of the series, just because I think it's like the most fun
Yes.
and like the most adventure and the funniest and all that kind of stuff. It just hits for me, like it just everything about that movie hits. And this, oh my God, the Sarah McLachlan sequence in that movie is like devastating. So yeah, but yeah, Toy Story 3, I have no objections to putting in the S tier because I did like come to tears, at the end of that movie. I think, man, if had they just ended it with that and not done Toy Story 4, it would be like the greatest trilogy ever, or would be in competition for the greatest trilogy ever. Like it would be. And I don't mind them doing the short films and checking in on the characters every now and then. I'm cool with that. But like, I just wish they hadn't made the fourth one because it's just kind of there. But yeah, Toy Story 3 just has like that perfect ending to it with Andy finally saying goodbye and passing them on and like, moving, saying I'm going to move on now and you guys are going to move on now with your lives, and all the Sunnyside stuff is great. And I'd put in the S tier just because this movie references Cool Hand Luke, and a lot of people don't realize that with the you spend a night in the box, all that whole sequence that Buzz does when he's playing guard. So I like that.
Nice.
So S tier.
Oh yeah, you probably stole my next pick, Amaru, because Toy Story 3, like, it deserves an S tier for sure. Like this is actually my favorite of the series, and just for all the reasons you guys already mentioned. I mean, you got the furnace scene, you have the scene at the end where he has to give away his toys, which is just like that scene at the end makes me probably cry even more, like because you just see how much these toys have meant to him all his life, and it's like not an easy thing for him to have to give them away, and just like all the Sunnyside stuff, meeting all these new characters, and then having Buzz as the comedic relief when he goes into like Spanish mode and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's always a fun time, and yeah, just a fun adventure. Like the less said about Toy Story 4, the better. I don't hate it. I think that it's fine, kind of like Austin said. Like it's just kind of there. Like it's all right, but like yeah, Toy Story 3 just gets me every time. And like when I saw it, when I saw it for the first time, I just like I just watched the greatest animated movie ever made, like possibly. Like I wasn't sure that, like I had a little bit of a debate, and I'm still kind of having that, but it's up there for me. So yeah, I'm gonna say S tier. Jacob, what do you think?
Toy Story 3, in my opinion, could be like the best movie that appeals to both kids and adults. Like I think it hits both demographics like perfectly, like because people my age, like we grew up Toy Story 2, and then we had to wait 12 years for Toy Story 3, and they delivered a perfect ending to the trilogy. I will call this a trilogy. I think Toy Story 4 is kind of like the epilogue. Like it's just, hey, this is what happened afterwards. Do I think we needed a Toy Story 4? No. But no, Toy Story 3 was great. It's definitely S tier. It's near the top of my personal like Pixar rankings. It's like hovering in that like top 5, top 4. It's just great, and that incinerator scene, like tears. As a 20-year-old, I'm still tearing up in an animated movie. Because Pixar seems to do that to people. And I think they did it perfectly here. So definite S tier.
All right, so for me, number 1, Toy Story 4 is actually my favorite of the Toy Story. And like I love technically all of them. So it's not like it's like, oh, you know what I mean? It just right time, right moment. Like no, like it's just the Woody story is fantastic. So now when it comes to Toy Story 3, you're either, there's two sides of this coin. You're either Toy Story 3 stans, or your Toy Story 2 stans who are Toy Story 3 are like it's a retread. So you have to have that debate. Do you want Ned Beatty as Lotso, or do you want Kelsey Grammer as Sneaky Pete?
Yeah.
I like Sneaky Pete. I like Sneaky Pete a little bit more. Do you want the incinerator scene in Toy Story 3, or do you want Jessie's backstory and her song in Toy Story 2? I like the song more. You know what I mean? So it's like Toy Story 3. It's an A tier movie for me. I'm not gonna like draw it out a little longer, but it's not an S tier for me because Toy Story 4 is my favorite, which is a personal level. I'll never debate anyone when I will fight people who say it's garbage and unnecessary. But if it's not your favorite, that's fine. But the 2 versus 3 debate, or if
it's not garbage, but it's unnecessary. I'll say that.
That's fine.
I'll say it.
You can have that discussion, and that's fine. You know what I mean? But like, once you really sit back and think of the Woody stuff. But anyway, that's not the point. When it comes to the 2-3 thing, which is the real debate for most people, if you're gonna have that back and forth, I'm fine either way. But for me, Toy Story 3 is honestly my least because 1 has the nostalgia, 2 is my second favorite because it has all the emotional beats, and 1 just has that, that ultimate conclusion. So it's like I'll give 3 because Toy Story is an amazing franchise, but 3 technically is it really hones in on what you've got before it, and it just so imagine Rise of Skywalker, which eventually get brought up. Imagine that having the payoff. Is it your favorite? Probably not, but you might have that all-in-one buffet version of it. You know what I mean? So like Toy Story 3 is great, but it's not as great as the other ones as a whole. So there's always going to be debate with the Toy Story movies.
Yeah. Well, one other thing I want to add that I really love with the series as a whole is that there's something for everyone in there. Where like some people will hold the third one as their favorite. Some people like number 2. Some people like number 1. But they're all like almost equally as good. They're only like
no one
like
shits
one
on
step
that.
off of the other. Yeah.
No,
Nobody dislikes them. So yeah. So yeah, I think that it definitely stays in the S tier here. We got enough votes for that for sure. So so yeah. And
how many is that for S tier? 9 or 10?
10.
That is. That's 10,
Well,
but we could always bump one out if we
Joker's teetering right now. If something else gets more S votes, it's going to get knocked into A. But it's teetering, so we'll see.
There's one that I will legit be fine with S tier, but if not, I like that.
Well, Liz, you're up. What do you want to go for?
Pick an F.
Right.
I feel like honestly, I'm very curious to see what will happen when I do this. I would like to shout out for The Sound of Music, and I would like to put that I would like that in S tier consideration, but probably I'd be satisfied with it hitting A. But still, it is admittedly a very different genre from all of these other films.
We'll throw it.
But it's got people fighting Nazis. It's got hot nuns. It's got some pretty good comedy. And the song slaps. So, I would stick up for The Sound of Music. It is another long epic. It is definitely probably not as long as it needs to be, but also I would argue looking at all of the films in the S tier currently. Actually, I would say it is arguably sexier than Titanic. I would say that young Christopher Plummer and Julie Andrews can get it. So this is my case I'm making for The Sound of Music beating out, say, any other Star Wars movie.
Sure. All right, we'll see. Austin, what do you think?
I'm a huge Mary Poppins fan, so you'd think with Julie Andrews, I'd be down with Sound of Music, and I'm not. I hate this movie. I hate the Sound of Music. I hate the Sound of Music. I hate it. I don't think any of the songs are good. I think they're all annoying. The Doe a Deer bullshit, like, no, like, fuck that song. I think the kids are annoying. I hate the family dynamic. I realize that the movie is well made, you know what I mean? Like it's all that. So I won't put it like really far down, but like I'm not a fan of The Sound of Music. I never have been. It annoyed the shit out of me when my sister would watch it all the time, and it just annoyed me. I just did not connect with it like I did something like Mary Poppins. So to me, no, it's like CD territory, like at best. You know what I mean? Just because I do like Julie Andrews, so that's fine, but I would personally just put it at. I'll put it at like a C level. I'll be generous, but yeah, because I'm not gonna put it in the same category as some of this other stuff. But yeah, it doesn't work for me.
Well, for me, for a person who's not a very big fan of musicals, I actually really like The Sound of Music. I think that it's a really fun movie, and a lot of it is very nostalgic for me because I grew up watching this with my mom and my sister and stuff like that, and I actually like a lot of the music. Like when I was in high school, I took some video tech and some broadcasting classes, and we actually used a lot of the music for a lot of different things. I mean, you have like my favorite things. You have Do a Deer that Austin brought up. If you didn't like it, but then you have like So Long Farewell. You have You're 16 going on 17. I mean, Edelweiss. Yep, a lot of like really solid songs for a musical. I mean, pretty comparable to Mary Poppins in like the like style of the music and stuff. But I mean, for me though, on this movie, it's a little bit too long. Like I think it's like about 3 hours long. So and I kind of feel it just a little bit. So I wouldn't quite go S tier for me. I'd probably give it a solid A tier, but I actually really like it a lot. So I'm probably gonna give it a high A. So I liked it better than Gone with the Wind. So yeah, I'll give it a high A. So
it is less racist than Gone with the Wind.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
Not that that's hard.
Racist stuff. So yes, that's fair.
Yeah.
With Nazis, yikes.
Jacob.
I'm actually gonna go S tier as well. I really enjoy The Sound of Music. I love this movie. I think Julie Andrews is fantastic. I was very late. I watched this for the first time a few years ago. I've seen it a few times since, and I just always have a good time when I'm watching it. So, yeah, this is an S tier for me.
For me, I want to see. I'm just doing a quick on my letterbox to see what I wrote. But like for me, I literally, it's funny. I literally on my letterbox, I literally just said I love this. So I was hoping it was going to be a little more like impactful, but it wasn't. I love this. It's almost 3 hours long. It's a musical, which I like musicals. Like I like the story oriented musicals. Like for the weird examples, like My Fair Lady is like the story parts of it I really like, but like the rest of it, like it doesn't hit. But like I love La La Land, and like I love other types of musicals. You know what I mean? So it's when I watch this movie, like as like the destined soon to be stepdad version of this, like watching her like come into this family and is like, yo, I'm gonna like adopt these kids essentially, and like, you know, be like their like surrogate mother essentially, and like step in, and like I related to that. And like I love that. I love the songs. I love the scope of it. It didn't feel like it was 3 hours long. And it's one of those where it's like I've only seen it the one time, and it was on February 8th of 2021, so just this year. But I don't necessarily say it has top 100 potential, but like it is a solid like a top A level. Like I connected with this more personally than Gone with the Wind, and I gave Gone with the Wind high praise. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't give it the S tier level just because like there are some moments of the movie where it's like it doesn't just, you know, transcend everything that you want it to do, but like I love this movie. So if on paper this sounds like a U movie, I recommend it, and don't be afraid of the length because it's not My Fair Lady, which is
it becomes such different movies on it so quickly.
It covers a lot of genres and tones and like, you know, spectacles. Like yeah, it's very impressive.
I got to throw this up from Jacob West, though. Some shots fired. Henry having to make sure he doesn't contradict himself. If he does, his precious letterbox account will implode.
No, I want to make sure that. Shut up. Fun fact: the same director of this movie was the first Star Trek movie. So take that as you will.
Nice. Yeah. There you go. Amadou, what do you think?
I have not seen this film.
He saw Star Trek 1.
Okay.
I'm avoiding everything Robert Wise.
Yeah.
Fair.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Star Trek 1 sucks.
Well, fair enough. What are the votes at Austin for this?
2 S's, 2 A's, and a C. So it may slip down into the A's. Yeah, but it could still make the honorable mentions. It's still got a shot. So
I'd be cool if it was an honorable mention.
Yeah, same. Wouldn't be mad about it, but Austin, you got one more you want to talk about?
The only other
Yeah.
Frozen, yeah, I hate Frozen and Frozen 2. They're abominations. And I'm not going to show my brand new niece that was just born a week ago. I'm going to pretend that movie doesn't exist, and I'm not going to show it to her ever. So that movie doesn't exist.
From what I've heard from parents, if they're gonna latch on to one movie, Moana plays a lot better on repeat.
Oh yeah.
I'm fine with that.
You're welcome.
I'll show the good stuff. So the only one other on the list that I would probably argue for S tier, and it's one that made it on our going back to Spielberg on our Spielberg show, is E.T. Extraterrestrial.
Oh, yeah.
I think is a pretty damn good candidate for the S tier. And you know what? This might be the one that bumps Joker out. I'm sorry to do it, but it's probably gonna. So yeah, because when we did our Spielberg episode of Tier Ranker, I hadn't revisited in a while, and I revisited, and man, that movie still just knocks my socks off. I still get like way into it. The family dynamic is fantastic. Commenting on the single mom, the divorce, and all that stuff, it hits you real hard. It plays differently as an adult, and I really got into the family dynamic. I got into the bonding of him and E.T. The bike chase still gets me going. It gets you adrenalized. It's just people, riding on their bikes away from the cops, but in and out of the alleys and stuff. It's a lot of fun. And the score, man, the score is still just one of John Williams' best of all time. It's Steven Spielberg commenting on suburbia and I think it's a very personal film for him. So I'm gonna shoot for S tier on E.T. because I think it still deserves it. You could make a case it's his best of the '80s. So let's see what happens with E.T. I'll go S tier.
Better than Raiders.
Yeah. Well, man, I wasn't gonna bring it up or really gonna talk about it, but man, the more I think about it, E.T. it probably deserves an S tier. Like E.T. is freaking awesome, and even earlier today, I actually posted my favorite track from any movie score ever made, and it's a track from E.T. or on the soundtrack. I don't know if they actually play it all the way through in the actual movie, but on the soundtrack, they have like a 15-minute long version that kind of mashes together every single track from the movie, and it's just a masterpiece. Like even listening to it today, and I've heard it probably about 100 times. Like I was getting emotional, like for the 100th time. Like I still get emotional listening to that. It's just so good. Like the music, I kind of feel like the music's like so good that's like without it. Like I don't know if I would rank this movie very high, but the music just like is like everything for me. This is hands down my favorite score of all time, and the movie is a really good time with some really great performances, and it's a lot of fun. So. Yeah, I'm gonna say S tier for E.T. So, Jacob.
Yeah, I hate that I'm comparing this movie to Joker in my mind now because they're two, pretty different movies.
Gotta kind of do it now, I guess.
Like if I was making like a personal S tier and it came down to E.T. and Joker, I'm not saying it's gonna come down to those two overall, but like right now. It's what it's coming down to. I'm inclined to go E.T. just because, like I said earlier with Joker, like that rewatchability. Like E.T. is just, it's a fun movie. Like everything Austin said, I'll just echo. But yeah, I think, see, I had Joker at a high A, and I would say E.T. is like, it's a low S for me. I think it's fantastic. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. Henry.
All right, so I don't have anything negative to say about E.T. Like all my reactions, if you're actually paying attention, I don't have anything negative to say about E.T. My relationship with Spielberg is one of those where it's like, as I talked about earlier with Jurassic Park, where it's like Jurassic Park is like my number one blockbuster. Ready Player One's my number 2 blockbuster. You know what I mean? It's like I have a weird relationship with him. It's like I don't hate any of his movies, but like I connect more to his personal stuff. E.T. as personal as it is screenwriting wise and script wise, I don't know. I tried to rewatch it for this and like I just didn't have that connection where I was like, I was like, all right, I like the movie, but like I was trying to give it a chance or another chance of like, all right, S tier, let's go. It's just not there, and I don't know what's missing. You know what I mean? I don't know. It could be just me trying to be
It's
edgy.
your heart. Your heart
Yeah.
is missing. It's
Yeah.
not glowing right now,
Yeah.
Henry. Your heart is just not in it.
No. You, if you know
You must
me,
have
you know that I
not
have
watched the version with the actual
soft spots
guns,
for
where the
certain
cops have
stuff.
guns, and
It's
Mhm.
what's the
I don't know,
walkie-talkie cut?
You know,
Right?
I'm you know, maybe I'm anti-Coors, maybe I'm anti-Reese's Piece. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just I would give it A. You know, no argument. Like I have no issues it being brought up, but it's like, it's just rough. It's especially now that it's getting to a point where it's like E.T. versus Joker. I feel like it's nostalgia kicking in, and that sucks. Where it's like, because I don't want to diss E.T., but it's like, I feel like it's just it's rough. So A, whatever. A.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Amadou, what do you think?
I don't give a shit about this movie.
You're my boy, Blue. Yo, Knickerbockers.
This is my definition of an overrated classic.
Yes.
Like, I watched it and I was like, I understand this zero. The kids were annoying.
I love
E.T. was not as cute as he's cute. He's fine, but don't care. The whole
Like shutting-
he dies and
shut up,
comes
penis
back.
breath.
Just like, I don't care about anybody in this film or anything in this film. It's boring to me. It's cool. The dialogue is dated. I mean, I go back and watch a lot of these classics, and I'm like, you know what? I get it. I don't get this one. I don't get this one at all. And it is a C for me. Whew.
Right.
I was waiting for this because this is overrated. I'm not a fan of this film.
Well, to each their own. Someone's not going on the ET ride at Universal, right?
Nope.
Yeah, that E.T. ride kicks. It's
Yeah.
great.
Liz, what do you think?
I mean, the truth is, this movie has always left me a little cold. I think when I watched it for the first time, I was just a little too young, and it really freaked me out, and I've never really gone back to revisit it accordingly. Like, I am mumble years old, and I still am a little afraid of keys. Like, that freaks me out. But I mean, I have no hate in my heart for it. I would probably put it at an A.
The finger.
But I also certainly think it belongs more in the S tier than Joker. So,
All right.
so
what
if
the fuck?
it knocks out Joker,
One movie at a
then
time. One movie at a
yeah,
time.
I know.
Well, Liz, in
There you
order
go.
to do that, you got to vote for A to knock it out.
All right.
All right,
There you
well, I
go.
definitely vote A.
No, I mean,
Sorry,
you got to
I'm
vote S. I'm sorry. You got to, because they have the same amount of S votes right now.
I see what you're saying.
The C brings it down. So if you're
Yeah,
gonna-
the C's
you
bringing
gotta
it
be true
down.
to your heart, though. True to your heart with ET specifically.
I've been
I mean,
waiting.
honestly, yeah, I'm gonna be honest about it and say I would rank it at an A.
Let's go, baby.
All right. So averages out to an A then? Is that what we're saying?
Well, I don't know, because
The C.
Joker had 3 S's, an A, and 2 B's. E.T. has 3 S's, 2 A's, and a C.
The
So they're like the
C-
exact
Okay.
same averages. They're the same averages. So I don't
but
know
I
what
feel like
gets
the
knocked.
C brings it down. Like I'm talking about, like hair.
Yeah, this.
I think the C makes it.
True, but
Yeah, the
it
C
had
kinda brings it
one more
down.
A. But it had one more A than the Joker did, because the Joker had 1 A and 2 B's and 2 A's and a C. It's the same average.
Yeah,
it's exactly
about
the same.
average. It is the
But I
same
think a
average.
It's the
C is
same
worse
average.
than 2B, you know what I mean? I don't know. It is tough.
If we're getting technical, I think the C brings it.
I have to be
Yeah.
technical when I write down the
Yeah.
votes. That's what we got to come down to. I got to be technical. Like
I know.
it's the same
I think it goes
average.
at the top of A. I think that's fair. Like that. Yeah. If we're being real, yeah.
Okay.
But I guess I'm up first. So
speed round time, or what are we doing?
All right, I'm trying to do my math teacher
Almost,
thing here.
almost.
Just to say something, it is legitimately the exact same average. Period.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what
You're
my
right, you're
point
right.
is.
I would be down.
So-
I would be down if we all
Well,
voted
here,
one or the other.
here
If
we have to all vote. We have to all vote right now.
Okay.
Okay. What stays in the
Alright.
S tier? We're gonna go up the ladder. What stays in the
Okay,
S tier
sure.
between S tier and Joker? You vote for your favorite of the two. So we start with Jacob, and I'll write it down. Jacob, E.T. Joker.
E.T.
Okay. This is tournament fights. We're going to tournament fights in mode now with the 5.
Yeah,
We're gonna
right.
break this tie.
yeah,
Joker.
All right, E.T. Joker.
Joker.
Amaru.
going strictly off objectively what I think deserves to be in the S tier more, not my personal favorite, E.T.
God, fuck.
No. There we go.
E.T.
Put Star Wars in the S tier now. Fucking apparently,
Yeah.
if we're going anti,
And
fuck.
I'm going ET as well.
God
All right,
damn,
well,
Maru.
we'll
Thought
do
we
it
were
right now.
boys.
Sorry, man.
Because I'm
It's
going
ET over Joker.
I'm going ET. So yeah, yep. So I guess
It's ET over Joker.
Yeah.
Joker goes to the top of the A.
Yeah.
Joker will probably be the first honorable mention, though.
And that's fine.
It probably
Yeah,
will still be an honorable mention.
That bullshit
Yeah.
logic really hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Damn you, math and averages. Shit.
But
Is it
Let's
what
have
are we
one
doing?
more.
Rapid time, or are we doing one more real one?
Almost. Yeah,
So-
Jordan's got one more regular pick, and then we're
One
going to go
more pick,
rapid fire. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to try and guess what Star Wars movie y'all were thinking about. That might be above A New Hope. I don't know, but for me personally, if there's one that I could pick, I want to go with Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. So where's it at? Let's see. I know it's oh, here it is. Okay, so yeah,
Bad
like this movie.
Bad timing. I'm mad at Amaru. Let's see how this goes.
Mhm.
But this movie absolutely blew me away when I saw it. Like the really cool story that like we didn't really know that we really needed it, and we don't really need it, but it's one that after I saw it, like I was really happy that I got it though. Like it was just really solid.
Really? Because you said the opposite on our battleground match as a judge, and I was arguing for Rogue One, Jordan. You should have given me the point
What?
then, asshole. That's
Had
the
to be-
same thing I said.
You had to be picky, so yeah. Right. But like the story though, like
Take it off.
and the performances though, like
Yeah.
from Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, even Donnie Yen as Chirrut Imwe, even Ellen Tudyk as K2SO was a lot of fun. Forrest Whitaker's character, Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, there's so many great performances in this, and like even though you know how it's gonna end, because I used the same logic against Titanic, but for me it actually works. In this one, like you know they're all gonna die, and they do it in like a really beautiful, cool moment. And then you have a little kind of stinger with Darth Vader that's like really badass. It's the only lightsaber that you need in the whole entire movie, and the way that the scenes were just shot, like it just felt like really gritty, like you were just immersed in this world, and like you really felt for these characters, and like just a like simple story about how they got the plans for the Death Star. So I mean, like it's a simple story, but it's done really well. Like there's something simple that was like elevated to like a whole nother level for me. Like so, like this is probably, if I were to rank all my Star Wars movies, like this one's probably maybe number 2 or number 3 all time for me. Like I really like this movie a lot. So but what did you guys think, Jacob?
I'll be honest. I think this movie's pretty good, but I don't really have much to say on it. It's not one that I revisit a lot when it comes to Star Wars. I mean, it's one that I don't feel bad leaving it out if I'm like marathoning. I'd give it a B tier.
All right.
Henry?
Henry. Yeah.
You can choke on D's aspirations. F tier. We got B.
F tier.
We got B, Amaru. F tier. I don't care about your
That's-
favorite Star Wars movie of all time. Yeah,
That is
let's
harsh.
build it up.
No,
I'm mad at you right now.
I'll tell
people
you
only
this,
care about Star Wars movies when there's a bunch of lightsabers and people using the Force, but when it doesn't have that, people don't care.
Exactly.
So
I'll
that's
tell
fine.
you this,
That's fine.
I don't think my if I would have went for Joker, it would have made a difference. This is my favorite Star Wars movie. Period.
Yes. All right.
I know.
Let's go.
F.
This is my favorite.
S tier. Yes. Let's go. Well, Liz.
I think I should reveal that let me see if I just gonna point the camera right at my boobs. But I'm wearing my oh god, I can't. Sorry, it's very hard with the tiny screen. But I'm wearing my. I totally felt that. Let Diego Luna touch Jabba is what the T-shirt I am wearing today. Which is it's a reference to the viral meme of all the times that during the Rogue One press tour, Diego Luna talked about wanting to touch Jabba the Hutt, and at some points make out with Jabba the Hutt. So, anyways, my point is that I really enjoyed Rogue One. I don't know if it's my favorite Star Wars movie, so I probably have to slide it in at A.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Austin?
There's some
I
cool
go
ass
A
shit
tier.
that happens. Oh, sorry.
No. I go A tier as well. I'm kind of like Liz, because the original trilogy still holds my heart. But this is like right up there in the A tier. Like it's right behind it because it's old school Star Wars. It feels like it fits kind of right in with the originals. I don't connect with a whole lot of the characters like I do from the original trilogy. Other than like K2SO, I think would slide in pretty nicely. But like all the stuff that's great is great. Yeah, the first hour could use a little bit of tightening up, but I still don't think it drags or anything. I like the world that they go around. I like that we're not dealing with Jedis and Siths for the most part. That's just following these kind of bad people, really. But once we kind of come to them higher after a while, so I'll go A tier. I like Rogue One. I really like it a lot.
It's a lot better than
This is the thing. People can't appreciate good, solid writing and good, solid acting. It's like it's boring without like lightsabers and Darth Vader and Jedis. It's like get out of here. It's like come
I
on.
wouldn't say it was boring.
So
No,
great
it's
movie.
not.
Far from boring.
But so we have a few A.
We got
a few
two
F
S's,
and
two
an F.
A's, a B, and an F. So
Yeah.
wow.
And Henry is just dragging us down. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm not
So-
a person when it comes to that shit.
Yeah. So where's it gonna end up?
Well, the
You
F
can
really
put your
hurts
butt
it.
back in your dick, I don't care.
It's either got to
Or
be
Joker, though.
bottom. It's either got to be bottom of A or top of B, because the F kind of drags it.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah,
Well, then F, I feel like probably B. Yeah. I mean,
it's got to be like top of B.
that probably
Low
makes the
A,
most
something
sense.
like that,
All
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're-
But
All right, so here's how our Hail Mary round works, because we're going to get
Yeah.
to it now, and we're going to start wrapping it up. So we have a little bit different way of doing it in the past. So what we do is we go around the horn, and if there's any other movies on the list that you want to shout out for either the S or the A tier only, we're not shouting out anything else other than S or A tier, shout them out. And you can name as many movies as you like. There are no limits. And what I will do is I will jot them all down. And if we have crossover, if some of the people shout out the same movies more than once, then we will go back and do rapid fire voting for it. So we will literally be like 10 seconds or less voting, when we go back to the actual voting. Does that make sense to everybody?
Copy.
All right. So you can shout out as many movies you want that are still on there you think either deserve S or A, and whatever crossovers, we'll go back and vote. So I will jot them all down as we go and see what we have crossed over. So we will start with Mr. Barber there. Do you have anyone you want to shout out?
Let's start with Amaru because he just
Since it'll be quick, I'll be all right.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right. Amaru's got to leave. I'm sorry. My apologies. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'll good. If it's gonna be quick, I'm good.
yeah,
Okay.
it'll be
Okay.
quick.
It should be fairly quick.
Yeah, because I'm pretty cool with what's in the S tier already. I mean, for me personally, I would say Far From Home is an A tier. It's an S tier movie for me. That's the only other one on this list that
Really?
Okay.
I would want to bring up.
Yeah. Henry.
All right, so for me, the only ones for S tier, I'm gonna go Skyfall, and then personally, S tier for Dark Knight Rises. But I'll be realistic and I'll go A tier because I really do think it does belong in A tier for Dark Knight Rises. And then I do want to give the shout out to Toy Story 4 for A tier because, as we just talked about it does belong. So those are my three.
Yeah. Okay. Amaru.
I'll agree. Skyfall should be S tier. My other definite S tier that I'm going to be angry about, Black Panther, is 100% an S tier movie.
Oh, yeah.
Without it.
I forgot that was on.
No.
And then the two ones that I want to give love to that I think should be A tier are Dead Man's Chest because that movie is great, and I love Age of Ultron. I love Age of Ultron. I think Age of Ultron is very good. I want to give that an A tier vote.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Jotting those down. All right. Liz, anything you want to shout out? And you can shout out the same ones again. I'm looking for crossovers. So if you have the same ones. All right. If not, just call out what you like.
I want to throw Furious 7 into the A tier. I think it, for what that franchise does, it does it very well. And kind of honestly, that's where I'm at. I'm good with the. I'm good with. I'll say Black Panther for S tier consideration for sure. But beyond that, I think the S tier as it stands, I think it works for me pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I do? I
Yeah.
know I got pressured. I was rushing Force Awakens. I want to. That's tier for me. That was the one. Obviously, if I didn't hint at it, I was just looking through them quickly.
Okay.
Force Awakens is
Sure.
100% S tier. I was just quickly looking. It got kind of blended in with the other ones, like so S tier for Force Awakens. So I just wanted to mention. I alluded. To
I got you. I'm just gonna shout out one. I would shout out Skyfall for S tier. That's it. I'll keep it short and sweet.
That's it, huh? All right.
That's it. I'm not as
All right.
passionate about anything else on the list. Honestly, yeah.
I'll give some love to Black Panther. I'll nominate that. Let's see.
For which tier? That's important.
Well, probably for.
Well, we'll go back. We'll go back to that. I'm just looking for crossover.
Yeah.
Then we'll get our official votes. So it doesn't matter. He's just shouting out. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
My bad.
We'll get back to it. We'll get back to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I know nobody really mentioned it, but I'll give some love to Jurassic World. So,
Brian Michael.
And then,
that.
yeah. Also, give some love to Dead Man's Chest. I actually really like that. That movie doesn't get enough love. So, and then I'll shout out Skyfall, probably Far From Home, and
I like it.
And probably Force Awakens.
There we go.
We'll go with that.
At least we'll get two on that.
Yep.
Okay.
That'll be it for me.
Okay, so you guys will have to give me just a second to jot down the ones that have crossover. So give me about a minute. Talk amongst yourselves, and I will jot these down very quickly for official votes.
Liz, my Star Wars order. My Star Wars order is Rogue One, Empire, Last Jedi, Force Awakens, then A New Hope.
That's very respectful.
That's all.
I didn't know if it was above Jedi or not, so I knew it might be close for this conversation. Yeah. But I knew Rogue One was the number one, so I was like, yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's not my number one, but like I said, I don't have any hate for it. I just, I was mad at you at the time.
Okay. All right, I've got the 5 that have crossovers, so we are ready. So literally, this is going to be like 10 seconds or less voting, rapid fire, just to wrap up the show and see if anything else squeezes into S, okay? Or A. So here we go. So we'll start with Spider-Man Far From Home. We'll start with that one. So Jacob.
If it's a personal S tier for me.
Okay.
B. I really, really, really like it, but it doesn't do anything that needs to be S tier.
I'm at a B as well. Pretty good movie. Like it.
Yeah.
Liz?
I would go B as well. Yeah.
I'm not big on Tom Holland movies. C.
And I'm a Spider-Man boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just...
And I'd probably give it an S tier. Like it'd be low on the S tier for me, but I'd give it S because like I've been waiting to see Mysterio on the screen, the big screen. So.
Oh my, that's just weird.
Yeah.
Well,
it's got 2 S's, 3 B's, and a C. So at best, it would be like low A at best on the tier. I mean, you can move it up there, but it'll only hit low A.
Throw it up
at
there.
best.
Yeah.
But you can throw it up there if you want to.
There's an outside chance it might make an honorable mention, maybe. So yeah.
We'll see.
But all right.
Okay. Next would be Skyfall. So we'll start with Jacob again, and we're just going up the ladder, same order every time. Jacob, Skyfall.
Yeah, when I said that there were like 2 or 3 movies that I haven't seen, this was one of them.
Okay.
I'm working on watching all the Bonds through. I'm very late to the Bond. Like
if you're
the
gonna get
expectations and the excitement to see it is at an S level because I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Yeah. Nice.
So Skyfall is not my number 1 Bond, but it is my number 2. So unfortunately, Casino Royale's not on this list. So Skyfall S tier.
Yeah, we got more in the comments.
Definite S tier movie.
Liz?
Sorry, I'm thinking.
Yeah. No,
I have to vote. I would vote A.
Austin?
Skyfall is my favorite Bond, so I go S.
Yeah, and Skyfall is probably in my top 3, so I would say S.
Ooh, shit.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
4 S's and an A.
Skyfall.
So with that, it might knock out ET. It's gonna knock out ET.
Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah.
I think it
not
is
mad
going
at
to.
that.
So
I'm not mad at
Yeah.
that either.
Yeah.
me neither, actually. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not mad.
All
at
right.
that. All right.
All right. So next on our crossovers, we're gonna go Black Panther. So Jacob.
Oh man. High A.
Yeah.
Third act brings it. I
Yeah.
mean, Amaru talked about this on top of Sunday. He, as much as he loves it, he acknowledged that the third act is rough, but it's still mid A because Killmonger is like when I watch What If, that is my favorite episode of the What If because of how great Killmonger is. But unfortunately, the movie as a whole, not quite. So mid A for me, but A.
Yeah.
I don't think third act is rough. I think it has rough parts to it because Killmonger's closing line is amazing. And I enjoy the rhinos, but the action is also Shuri and Jabari and Nakia and all of them. On top of the things that are rough, it is an easy S. It is top 5, 6 MCU film. It is easy S.
Yeah.
Liz?
There are much worse third acts in the MCU. I'm gonna go S.
Yeah.
C. I think it's a mediocre comic book movie at best.
my god!
Really? Oh.
At best.
Dang.
At best. I don't see the hype for it. I don't think it's that good. Sorry, I don't.
You made
A lot of hype, not a lot of substance. Sorry, I don't. I think it's mid-level MCU at best.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Did you say not a lot of substance?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right.
Not a debate. Not a debate. I'm gonna shut up.
It's not. Yeah.
Hey,
Right.
Confidential roundtable. We'll have this conversation if you guys want. We'll talk about it. Jordan, go ahead.
It's not geared towards him. I'll just say that. Maybe. But
Fine.
Yikes.
yeah. But I'm gonna say a low S tier for me. I think it's S tier. So yeah.
I'm just gonna say, no matter what, it needs to rank above Gone with the Wind.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. That makes sense.
That would be a fun debate.
So what are the votes at, Austin?
The same as ET. 3 S's,
Oh,
2
really?
A's, and a C.
I would
Yeah.
put it over ET.
Well,
I'd put it
Yeah.
over ET.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Which
I would.
I would put it over.
Unfortunately, is
Not
above.
even
I would put it
Joker.
over ET. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put it there for now, and we'll see. But
All right.
yeah, what else?
We have The Force Awakens. Jacob.
A.
Henry?
Depending on which I watched more recently, it's either this or Empire for my favorite Star Wars. This is the reason I got on the internet in late 2015, early 2016. This was the first video I've ever made. Force Awakens is amazing, and anyone who says otherwise, SMD.
Yep. Sure. Amadou?
A. I really like. I love this movie. It's
A is totally S.
I really like it.
No SMD worthy for A. I'll pick it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Liz?
I'll also go A.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know how to remember.
Yep.
A. It's a remake of New Hope, and it's not New Hope. It's A.
Ooh,
Sure.
SMD, Austin specifically.
Well, it is. It's a remake of New Hope. It's the same damn movie. It's just not as good as New Hope. It doesn't have Luke
We'll be
Skywalker.
debating soon. We'll
Get
be
outta here.
debating soon. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say S tier, just because I worked at a movie theater when
There you go.
it came out, and I've never seen an opening weekend for a movie that's like standing room only throughout every single square inch of the entire theater. Like I've never seen that for an opening weekend. So yeah, like not just in the movie theater, in the lobby, in everywhere. So yeah.
Just for that, cheers to the Mormons. Good shit.
Right? Sure. I'll take that. Yeah, so
2 S's and 4 A's. It's better scores than Sound of Music and Harry Potter.
all right, yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
wrong one.
That's fair. So maybe like here, maybe
Yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Let's get the right post.
And then our
Yeah.
final one for the crossover, oddly enough, is Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. Had 2 shout-outs, so
Sure.
we'll vote for that. Yeah, so Jacob.
B.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna once again, as I always do, I'm gonna preface this. I really like Curse of the Black Pearl, potentially love. Haven't seen Dead Man's Chest, but everything that I've ever heard that if it's not as good, it's really close. So it's like I'll still say A because of what I think.
It's the best score of the whole entire franchise, and I'll fight anyone on that. Best score.
Based on everything that I trust, I will say A.
That is basically accurate. Curse of the Black Pearl is an S tier movie. Dead Man's Chest is A.
Yep. Liz?
Everything they just said, except that for me, this is a B.
Okay.
All right.
I also I see that too.
Yeah. Austin?
Yeah, Dead Man's Chest is an A. I think it's really underrated. It's not as good as Curse, but it's really underrated. Yeah, I'd say A.
I respect that.
Yeah, and I would say A. The Black Pearl's S, this one's A. So yeah. Cheers.
All right. Well, it's a little under Gone with the Wind in the scores because 4 A's and 2 B's. So maybe a little under Gone with the Wind around there. Yeah, something like that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, or well, I mean, Harry Potter would still kind of be above it because it had a couple of S votes, maybe. Yeah, but yeah, something around there. Yeah, so something around there.
Did we put the wrong Star Wars poster up there?
Maybe I don't know.
That is Last Jedi.
Okay.
No, that's Force Awakens, isn't it?
No, that's
Force Awakens.
That's Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker.
Sure?
That's Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
Oh, was that Rise of Skywalker? Okay.
The Force Awakens even here?
I knew I was.
Yeah, it's a black one. The black one in the middle. Yeah, the black above Toy Story 4.
And
yeah, that's it.
Because they look all exactly the same.
Yeah,
they're all exactly the damn same.
That one.
That's why I was asking. Like, wait a minute.
No, that's Force. Yeah.
All right.
I do gotta get out of here now. It's pretty late. I just wanted to see what was up there. Always a good time, everybody.
Amaru, go Knicks.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes,
you got
sir.
anything you want to promote real quick?
My one gotta say, I still have to make the video for Monday's show. But Monday's show is gonna be a gaming version. You give you 4 options. You only get to keep one series. It's either NBA 2K, Call of Duty, Halo, or Assassin's Creed. You only get to keep one of them.
Man.
All the rest of them are gone. So if you want to let me know, one gotta stay on your reviews. URIRUVIEWS. And check me out on Bite Size Breakdown on IG and Twitter and Facebook. We have just added Paige for Betty as a member of our team at the moment. Hopefully, permanent member soon. And yeah, check out all these beautiful faces. Liz, always great to see you.
I miss you.
And everybody else.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
I actually might take this opportunity to bail out as well. I haven't.
Sure.
I haven't eaten.
See y'all later.
Bye, Rue.
Bye, Rue.
See you,
real quick, Liz, before you go, what would be your top 3 in the S tier? We just want to count that before you go. So if you had to pick a top 3 in the S tier, what would you go for?
I'll go Jurassic Park, Titanic, and Star Wars: A New Hope. Actually, wait, no, I take that back. Instead of Star Wars: A New Hope, I'll go OG Avengers.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
We'll take that into consideration. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you guys.
It
was a lot of time.
Yeah.
It was nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Liz. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, can I promote that?
Please plug away.
Please.
I just wanted to say I've been trying to get more people to look at my letterbox just to justify me continuing to update letterbox. So I'm on letterbox
right now.
Great. Yes, I'm on letterbox as Lizlet, Lizlet, and I've gotten pretty regular about updating it. So
I'll be your most recent follow.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Yeah. I'll follow you back, and I will follow. I also follow back a fair number of people.
This one down because it didn't.
Perhaps.
Followed. Yeah.
Yes. But yes. Lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for having me. And
thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Have a good night.
Good night. All right, gentlemen. So this is what we're going to do. Now it comes the individual ranking in the tiers. So we are going to start with the S tier. So I think what we're going to do is kind of similar to Liz. What we usually do is go around and ask everybody like their top 3 or so, and then we can kind of go from there and see what kind of have crossover, or if we get a majority rules type situation. So Jacob, if you had to maybe vote for like a top 3 out of here, What would you go for?
I'd go Lion King.
Mhm.
Then I'd go Civil War, actually, and then Lord of the Rings.
Okay, Henry.
So this one's tough because Endgame is clearly my number one. Like it's in my top 100 solidified, no doubts.
Mhm.
Jurassic Park's number 2. At this point, though,
Yeah.
if you like, depending on which day you catch me for like my top 100, Return of the King could be in there. Skyfall could be a replacement for Casino Royale. And I still haven't, like I said earlier, I haven't rewatched Titanic. So like that could shoot up even above Endgame, technically. So as of right now, I'll stick with my guns and I will go Return of the King, but with the tentative of what I said earlier about Skyfall and Titanic, technically. So Endgame, Jurassic Park, Return of the King are my 1, 2, 3.
Gotcha.
All right.
I think I
Awesome.
go Avengers, Jurassic Park, Star Wars.
Well, how old did you say you were? Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm 35. I'm 35.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
grew up
yeah.
with Jurassic Park and Star Wars, and
Exactly. That
and I
matches.
think Avengers is better than Endgame, so and Civil War. So
Yeah.
just me personally.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's fair. Can't wait to debate you.
Well,
we may or may not. He's like he's thinking about throwing me back in the
I know.
tournament. People are dropping out, so we'll see.
I'm in the
I don't
behind
know.
the scenes. Trust me, I'm a part of
Yeah,
that.
I know. We'll see. Don't worry. I want to still fight you regardless. We'll do it at some point regardless. We are doing that.
We'll
that match.
we'll let people watch.
Even if it's
Yeah.
just an exhibition, like we're doing it. It's
You
happening.
can do it on my
we-
channel
we're making it.
exhibition if you really want to. I'm down always.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
oh yeah.
Anyways, Jordan, what do you got? Yeah, I'm sure you got End Game and probably Lord of the Rings, right?
Fucking nerd.
No, actually not Endgame. We got to go with it with probably Lord of the Rings though for sure. Then Jurassic Park and Civil War. Do that.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah.
All right. If I ever see you post Endgame over Civil War and anything, I'll call you out on your shit. So this is your last chance. You sure?
What's a toss up? Because like literally I could go either way depending on.
Okay, they better be
On the
next to
day-
each other then.
With the night I'm feeling Civil War because it's my
Okay.
favorite comic book series of all time.
Well,
so-
okay, fair. But here's the thing. So I heard Lord of the Rings and Jurassic Park a lot. Those are probably 1 and 2, and we can debate 1
Yeah.
or 2. But I heard a lot of crossovers
they're-
for those because like they're pretty high.
Yeah, but
mean-
did you 3 mention Jurassic Park?
I said Jurassic Park. Yeah, I did.
Then Jordan, you
did
said
too.
Jurassic. So I think
Yeah, he did too.
I would be,
number one.
yeah,
Jurassic
I'd
Park's
be
number
okay
one.
with Jurassic Park at number 1.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was my.
I'm
number
okay with
2.
Lord of the Rings being number 2. I'm okay with that. Like
Yeah,
I
same.
realize how good
Yeah.
it is. It's just
I
not
am-
like a
I-
personal
even I
favorite.
am.
But yeah.
Even though Endgame was my number
Okay,
1,
okay.
I would concede Return of the King is 2.
Okay. Well, okay. Here we go, and we kind of break this down what we've been doing lately. So, Endgame or Avengers, Jacob,
Okay.
Ooh.
or how about this? Endgame, Avengers, or Civil War? Because some of y'all are leaning towards Civil War. So, Jacob,
Civil War.
Endgame.
Avengers. You make him down to Jordan.
He already said Civil
And-
War.
And Civil War, yeah. I gotta go Civil War.
So Civil War goes above those.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Wow.
I can't wait for the votes to
Come
see.
on.
All right. Now,
Yeah.
Avengers or Endgame, Jacob.
Man, I really like Endgame, and it's probably I like it more than Avengers, but we wouldn't have Endgame if it wasn't for
What
Avengers.
the fuck?
So I'll
Yeah,
go
It's
OG
true.
Avengers.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
End. Oh my
I know where
God,
Henry's going.
Endgame. I fucking fuck that logic. Endgame.
Well,
All right.
Avengers doesn't have time travel, so Avengers.
Well, I'm gonna go with Endgame. So I don't know what we're gonna do if we got a tie.
Well, with that, I will say because he has
It was-
Endgame as a low. We'll go Avengers. That's fair because Austin brings down the weight for Endgame.
Yeah, but you had it like
I
number
had-
1.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
you had
kind
it
of
number
balances
one,
out
yeah.
because I'm not
Yeah.
big on it, but you're huge on it. So I mean,
That's
whatever. I'm okay. Like you can
You're
put
willing to
Endgame.
concede.
I'm not going to die on that hill. I don't care. It's like
Yeah.
whatever. To me, I don't care.
Yeah.
Now this is where it gets interesting. Now it's really like what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, what do we
Okay, I
do?
definitely put Star Wars above Titanic. I love Titanic, but I put
Yeah.
Star Wars above Titanic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
go
like
Titanic.
We got some votes.
Out of
We got
of
votes
the-
in the comments. I mean,
Well,
some people
but
are saying
Jordan
Endgame, so-
doesn't
What
like
about that?
Titanic, so I think that's a
We got
pretty
that
easy.
one.
Like Star Wars
got
goes
that
over
one.
Titanic.
I think
Yeah.
Endgame goes above
honestly,
Avengers.
I think Lion King might be
I
above
gotta
all
do
of
that.
them. Like in front of the
Okay.
consensus, I think Lion King might be above all of them for like out of the 4 of us.
I don't put Lion King above Star
Yeah.
Wars.
but like the way
The
that he
original.
brings Titanic down, I feel like Lion King brings it up. I don't know. That's just
Well, it
I
definitely
would be
could-
fine going Star Wars, Lion King, Titanic.
I'd
I
be
would
fine
be-
with that.
I would be fine with Star Wars being next.
I would be fine
What
with
about-
Star Wars, Lion King, Titanic, I'm fine with.
I'm fine with that.
What about Toy Story?
At least
3
for
and
now.
Skyfall,
Well,
though?
at least
Are
for
we
now.
take
We'll
those
talk about
movies?
Toy Story and Skyfall for a second. We'll,
All
we'll
right.
just
The
shoot
way
for
the way
now.
that we voted, I
and we'll
think
see.
Skyfall is like above
Star Wars, Lion King,
technically
Titanic.
even
Yeah.
above Titanic.
I'd be all right with that. But
Skyfall
I think-
had a 4-1. Skyfall had the same as Titanic. It was
I
well,
haven't
except for
seen it.
Jordan's. Jordan's
Yeah.
had it bottom,
so
so it pulls
so
it
I
down.
think
Titanic
Skyfall
doesn't
is above
deserve
Yeah.
to be in the S, if you're asking
Yeah,
me.
Skyfall's above Titanic. Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
Lion
Skyfall's above
King
Titanic,
has
and
Toy
then
Story 3.
Toy Story 3 had higher than both Skyfall and Titanic, so Toy Story goes behind Lion King
Yeah.
technically.
Okay.
Yeah, it did.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah,
So Titanic's number 10.
I'm
Yeah.
happy with that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
and then Toy Story's
Yeah,
like number
okay.
8. Toy Story's 8.
fine.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
All right, so now here's where it
That's
gets
all.
interesting because I know
Yeah.
Henry really wants Joker to be at least included in those
Yeah.
honorable mentions. But you know what? I would put
Yeah, all right with
Joker above Force Awakens and Black Panther and Sound of Music and all that other shit right there. So I'm with Henry on that. I would
Okay,
put
so
Joker as
are,
least as
are we
one of
saying
them.
if you can only pick one,
Except
which
for
one are you
ET
picking?
though. So we gotta have
Essentially.
ET in the top 3. I feel.
We're so MCU heavy. I would be okay not having Black Panther in the honorable mentions.
But for what it did for the culture, though, like I just feel like we gotta mention it. I don't
So
know.
if you could
Yeah,
only
but you
pick
argued against that, Jordan, for Friday on the comedies. You argued against
True,
that.
true.
So you can't do that shit. Come
Jordan,
on now. You can't pull that
Hold on,
now.
hold on. Pause. Time out.
The thing is,
Jordan, have you
don't
said
like anything
something
better
negative
than that,
against
though.
Friday? I will block you right now.
no, like I
Joker-
don't really say anything.
He was just like,
negative.
I don't
just
get
like
it,
that.
man. Like, just because it's influence, we shouldn't put it in the top 10 just because
I can't wait till we talk.
influence.
I can't wait till we talk
Oh my
about my
God.
top. Well, my
Yeah.
my top 64.
That's it.
It's gonna be rough.
Yeah,
You say
I love
anything
Friday.
negative.
Anyways,
I love
Joker.
Friday too, but like we had to get
Joker's my pick
get-
out of these.
get
That's my
nitpicky
number
though.
one.
That's the thing.
I would go
Honorable-
Joker and ET. I would go Joker and ET and personally Gone with the Wind, but
For
that's
me,
just
if
me.
I had to pick two, it would be Joker and Force Awakens, or my two.
We're
Okay,
picking
Jacob,
three.
if you had to pick, well, I know we will, but let's
Okay,
pick
okay.
2 for now, and then we'll pick out the third. What would you pick?
Get the average out of all these
The
two.
2.
I'd actually
Yeah.
go ET and the Sound of Music.
Jesus, that's rough.
All right, Jordan.
I'd go ET and Joker probably. Yeah.
The Joker automatically
Pick them
makes
too?
it. That's a,
So ET and Joker both had a bunch of crossovers. So ET and Joker will make it. We'll talk
Yeah.
about the third one. So
Okay.
ET and
Third
Joker,
one-
and then
okay. Yeah.
okay, and the third one would be one of those other ones. So,
The third one for me would be definitely Hallows, but that's a personal one for me. I know not everyone's.
This
on
one's
that,
rough for
but-
me
but
because
everyone-
my
Yeah.
number two of both of these franchise are Force Awakens, which Empire is my number one, then Force Awakens, and then Prisoner of Azkaban and the Deathly Hallows. So it's like, fuck, which one do I like more?
Yeah.
God.
I don't know.
Force
tough.
Awakens because the impact. I'll go Force Awakens.
I could go with Force
I
Awakens.
would
Yeah, that was
go.
a huge
I would
impact when
go
it came out.
either Force Awakens or Gone with the Wind. But if it was Force Awakens, I'm fine with that because I really like it.
You know, when I worked in a movie
I-
theater, that
Jacob.
they had this machine that would play the Force Awakens trailer over and over and over on repeat. And for me, like it was pure happiness. I did not get annoyed by it. I actually loved seeing that because it's been so long since we had a new freaking Star Wars movie. Like Star Wars was essentially dead at that point before it came out again. Like that movie had a huge impact. I feel like so.
Mhm. All right, Jacob.
It's just me.
No, I might be inclined to go with Gone with the Wind.
Wow, boy.
Mm.
Mm.
I appreciate you sticking with your gut, but wow.
I can't
I still
vote for
think
that bitch
technically Force
Scarlett
Awakens
O'Hara. I
wins,
can't.
but that's- It's crazy. It's not a clean sweep.
Yeah, it's not. It's like it's a stalemate between Force Awakens and Gone with the Wind. Because I also voted for Gone with the Wind as
Oh,
one of
you
my
did? Okay,
options.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
Yeah,
hear
I
that.
did. No, I did
Um,
because I think putting an epic from like the 30s is kind of appropriate in this list because the fact that it's still technically number one just for inflation. I mean, it still is.
No, So the
Yeah.
thing with me personally is I would rather have Sound of Music over Gone with the Wind. So it's like that's a hard.
Yeah.
Well, so would I, but of the
I would
two
too.
that
I
are
would
being
have Sound of
talked
Music.
about,
Ugh.
Yeah.
I would still rather have Sound. Like if I had to pick between Sound of Music and Gone with the Wind, I would go Sound of Music. But I'm picking Force Awakens above both of them combined. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
I
like
know.
that's rough.
Out of all these movies, I would rank Gone with the Wind the lowest out of all the ones on the A tier for me. Like it's not very high for me on A tier. But
Hold on, is there anyone else where it's like out of all these A tiers you would consider as S tier? I feel like that adds a little weight at this point. We're getting desperate for like adding weight to them.
Well, the two I had at S tier were E.T. and Joker. It was the same.
Yeah,
It was those.
I had
I didn't have any of these other ones at S tier.
Yeah, so Force Awakens was technically an S tier for me, so that adds a little weight to it. Like I did say it earlier.
yeah.
I had Sound of Music
That's
in S
fine.
tier. Jordan had Deathly Hallows in S tier. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I had Deathly Hallows. I forgot about
So
that.
we gotta flip a coin or do something crazy.
Jordan, what did you have? What did you have Force Awakens as?
S tier probably. So yeah.
Okay, it's two
Yeah.
S's, so Force Awakens wins. Yeah,
Alright.
it gets the third.
But
I win something.
a low S tier, but still have it as a S tier.
Yeah.
why didn't you
Force
say that
Awakens.
3 minutes ago, Jordan?
What was I thinking about it? Like, I was still debating it. Look at my head. So I was just like, would I? Yeah, actually.
So what is it? The top 3 honorable mentions?
Yeah, the top 3 are the honorable
Yeah.
mentions. Because what it is in the poll in the Shimoda Friends and Family group, we do the top 10 and the top 3 honorable mentions. That's what makes the poll.
Honestly, like
Essentially.
Yeah, so you can go and vote.
So
I
you
don't
can still
know.
go in there. You can still go in there and vote for Force Awakens. You can vote for Joker. You can vote for all these movies. Like you can
that's
vote
cool.
for everything. Like as many times. Like you can vote for as many movies as you want in the poll. Like, but yeah, you can show some love there. So
Well,
we'll
I
see.
prefer Sound of Music. I'm not upset that it's Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love
I'm
that.
fine
So
with
what out of
And also-
the top 13? What is everyone's least favorite? I know Jordan's, but
Titanic for me. Gotta call it
me,
Titanic.
mine is, out of the 13, mine is ET. That's rough because I still like it.
Out of the
13
stuff on the list, probably Force Awakens, but it doesn't mean I hate it. It's just like I'm more likely to
that's
watch
what
those
makes
other
this-
movies first.
That's what makes it rough.
Yeah.
So Jacob, what's yours now? So we have Titanic, ET, and Force Awakens.
Of the ones that I've seen, because I haven't seen Skyfall,
That's fair.
Okay.
I would go Force Awakens.
Wow. Damn.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Okay.
But I still put it in
Well,
A tier.
switch
So
its
it's not like
ways,
I'm saying it's a
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put it in A tier as
That's
well.
when you know
I
you're
like
looking
it.
at hairs.
Yeah.
That it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Lawson, you want to break it down for us? Our top 10,
Yeah,
our
so
3
after
honorable
all the
mentions?
hullabaloo and after all the nitpicking, we finally got our top 10, our 3 honorable
Yeah,
mentions. So
finally.
at number one is going to be Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park. Number 2, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. And number 3, we've got our first of several MCU entries with Captain America Civil War. Number 4, we've got Avengers End Game. Number 5, the original Avengers from 2012. Not the 1998 Avengers, but the 2012 Avengers. At number 5, number 6, we've got Star Wars A New Hope. Number 7, we've got Disney's The Lion King. Number 8, we've got Pixar's Toy Story 3. And number 9, we've got James Bond and Skyfall. Number 10, we've got James Cameron's Titanic. And our honorable mentions for the evening are another Steven Spielberg with E.T. We got Todd Phillips' Joker, and we've got Star Wars The Force Awakens.
All right.
Right.
Time, guys.
All right. Good job, everybody.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
this was like the entire Endgame movie, 3 hours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
Well, tier ranker, we've had some that go like 210, 220. We wrap it up pretty quick, and some go a little longer. Same with tournament fights. They can go a little
This
shorter.
was like
or
a
longer,
broad
just
topic
depending on
though,
what it
where
is.
we really had
Yeah.
to debate. Like you know what
Well,
I mean?
it's a
was
strange
broad,
topic
yeah.
with a bunch of different movies because we
Yeah.
had stuff like Alice in Wonderland and Transformers in there, and it's like, it's a weird topic where, it's all kinds of random stuff.
Yeah, if you
You know?
guys didn't discuss the bad movies.
yeah. Right.
It added to the
Just got-
flavor though. That was an interesting
Just got to
conversation.
the point.
You know,
Yeah,
I
right.
like it.
Listen, I'm probably one of the bigger Tim Burton fans out there, and even I'll agree, Alice in Wonderland is like
Not
D-
bad.
tier at best.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird in the adjusted for inflation list. Like we just missed throwing stuff on here like Jaws, which could have been a unanimous
Jaws,
S tier. Stuff like The Dark Knight, which could have been a unanimous S tier. Things like that just missed the list, like literally by a couple of
The
notches.
fact that Infinity War wasn't on here was crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Just missed it, yeah.
I was
Like
waiting for
the
it.
Endgame
Well,
Infinity War, that's an obvious like 1-for-1 debate, but it wasn't on the top 50. That's crazy.
Well, and that Dark Knight Rises made more money than Dark Knight, so it made the list. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
one
but
of those
also
things.
like given the Dark Knight,
Yeah.
that's why the
Oh
Dark
yeah,
Knight
everybody saw Dark Knight Rises. Yeah,
had
no,
the
I get
narrative.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But do you see
But there's
why
weird
I had
movies
so
like
many?
that.
You see why I had so
It's a
many
good topic.
MCU movies on my personal top 64? Because they're actually good, like as seen here. Like people think a lot of them are
more
actually
than
quality
two.
movies
More than
because
two
they
is pushing
are.
No,
Yeah.
more than two
Dude,
is pushing it, but
his list was like 70% comic book and MCU movies. It was pretty sad.
so
It
quick
wasn't
plug for
70.
Henry's,
Like, it's probably like
Henry's top
40%.
64 in
Come on.
January.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some good ones now.
Yeah, we're getting
Yeah.
there. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
We'll get to that. All right, Jordan, let's knock off
Yeah.
the tier and let's get to the plugs and let's wrap this
fun,
bad boy up. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got a 3-hour drive ahead of me. I still got to drive for a little business trip, so it'll be kind of interesting. I'll be pounding an energy drink.
Well, I get to wake up in 3 hours and go to work and throw some more Thanksgiving trucks at my job. So yeah.
Same, I
Good
gotta
stuff.
Get to
go
sleep in at
deliver
least. So yeah,
I'm
so
off
that'll be
tomorrow.
nice. Oh, nice.
Good for you.
Good for you. Yeah. But yeah, we'll go around the horn. If you have anything that you want to plug, or just tell us where we can find you. Jacob, you got anything?
Yeah, I'm working on something. I'm working on a channel. It's gonna be starting soon. It's called a podcast about, because I didn't want to, end that because there's gonna be several topics. Wrestling and movies are two. I'm thinking about doing sports, but it's not definite yet. I've got a co-host for the wrestling podcast. Jordan Owens has agreed to co-host with me. And then I've got a co-host in the works for the movie one. I'm not sure if that's finalized yet, but if they choose to say anything, then
Who could it be?
But yeah, I'm looking to start that soon. And so yeah, just keep looking out for that. I'm gonna get it started soon and hopefully make quality content that people want to watch.
Nice.
Hey,
yeah.
we all support each other in this community, man. So we all watch each other's stuff and keep in tune with everybody. So we'll support anything that anybody wants to put out there.
Yeah, but
Enjoy
anytime
it.
you need a guest, yeah, we're always down to guests for sure. So, but yeah, Henry, do you have anything you want to promote or tell us where we can find you?
Yeah, so it's one of those ones where it's like, it sounds like a fucking douchebag asshole thing to say, but like 3 hours in, if you don't know me at this point, then like, what am I really plugging? But still, I just redeveloped my channel name to Dial In for Movies. It used to be There Will Be Movies on the Henry Confidential YouTube channel, just because I'm a weirdo when I like to comment on people's shit, and I like it to comment as my name. So I have my YouTube channel as Henry Confidential, but my network, quote unquote, I just rebranded to Dial In for Movies. And then I have There Will Be Trivia, the round table, the Confidential Roundtable podcast, which is low key fire as fuck. We're just gonna hang out. Austin on episode 1,
Yeah.
Where you just talk about movies. There's no format, there's no structure. Just talk about movies for an hour, and whatever happens. And then I want to start a new pod or a new like debate show, but like not a league form of. It's called the War Room, where it's like we'll talk about the MCU or even like something like today, like the top 50 grossing movies, and you just have a couple questions where you just debate it because you're really passionate about it. It's not because I hate when you watch a debate and you're like, oh, you have like one thing you're passionate about and the rest you don't really give a shit about. And like, no, let's debate about 3 to 5 things that you're actually passionate about, and that's what the War Room is about. So if you don't know me at this point, you'll find me there, and then whatever. So see you guys when I see you. Drunk.
Yeah.
This is me off.
Yeah, sounds awesome. I'm Austin. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, no, I mean, the roundtable thing was fun. I was on the first episode of that. We had a good time just bouncing around, just talking about all kinds of random shit. It was good. And I know you had another one the other night with Chadwick Webb and a couple other people, right? So, that Liz was on there. Yeah. So, no, it's fun stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't have much to plug outside of that. I'm on, obviously co-host a lot of these with Jordan. My movie Battleground match with Chadwick Webb is live, so if you want to check that out, low-key match of the season, match of the season. Check it out.
Yeah. Well, I'll just kind of talk about a couple upcoming episodes we got going on at the Movie Hero Network. So I'm kind of putting a few things on the back burner as far as that I want to get back into, as far as like like blind spots we've been doing. We got a Saturday Night Live show called Live from Movie Hero. We got a Seinfeld show called Hello from Movie Hero, and we also have a podcast called Podcast League Now. So those are going to be making a big comeback, probably like maybe after the holidays. We're going to really get back in those pretty solid. But for right now, we're going hard in the paint with tier ranker fights and tournament fights. So a few episodes we have coming up. This Tuesday we're doing best 80s comedies for a tier ranker fight. So we got.
I need to fill in a lot of gaps for that one. We might have to talk about pushing that one back, to be honest, because I got a lot of shit I got to fit in for that one. So I don't know.
Even
we
for
might
better
have
or for
to.
worse, there could be some ones where like
We can
I doubt I'll like them, but like I still
Well,
need to
just because we've had 3 tier rankers in a row, and that's the one I'd do the most prep for. So I don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
Sure. But then we're gonna be doing best SNL impressions of all time. So we already did the best original Saturday Night Live characters. So now we're gonna be doing best impressions. So that one's coming up. Then we're gonna be doing best Christmas movies with Mr. Christmas himself. Alonso Duralde is going to be joining us for that one, so that'll be a good time. Then we also have one of the episodes we had to push back because of scheduling conflicts, but it's going to be best basketball movies of all time. And then we also have one of our panelists, Richie Nemo Goodacre. We're going to be doing his top 64 movies coming up. So yeah, you can look.
And then we'll get the Henrys
those.
in January. We're gonna do his top 64.
Yeah.
He's been hyping it up. We'll see if it's worth the hype. We'll see what he's got in his 64. We'll have a little fun with that.
This is coming up.
Yeah.
So.
All right. It'll be fun.
But if you guys have any suggestions for any future topics, you can always DM me, or you can hit us up on all of our socials.
top half songs, right, Jacob?
Yeah. But we're at Movie Hero 2121 on Twitter and Instagram, and then you can find the poll with the top 10 and the 3 honorable mentions over in the Shoutout Friends and Family group tomorrow on Facebook. So
tell us why Joker sucks. Tell me and Henry why Joker sucks and it's not S tier.
Right.
Go ahead. That's fine. Y'all can tell us why. There'll be a lot of responses in there. A lot of Independence Day haters in the poll, Jordan. Man, I'm going back on Independence Day. Come on, dude. What the hell? What's the deal? Bunch of anti-American assholes in the poll there. Patriotism.
Well, it's a fun popcorn movie, and we just turn your brain off and just shove popcorn in your mouth and have a good time.
My argument, Henry, I'll say this. My argument for why Independence Day was number 1 on our alien invasion thing. It's the quintessential movie. When you bring up the topic of what movie do you think of first? You think of fucking Independence Day, and that's why.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
It's like the alien invasion movie.
Alien invasion. Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's an alien invasion movie. The fucking those things coming through the damn atmosphere. And the thing in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, all it was like 2, 3, 4, etc. because they're unconventional alien invasion movies. But when you think of spaceships coming into Earth and zapping people to shit, it's Independence Day. Period.
Yeah.
It just is. So
Hands
sorry.
down, Independence Day.
Sorry,
Yes.
everybody. That's why it's number 1. Period.
Yes. But
bunch of haters, you can eat it.
Yeah,
number 1.
That's indeed.
But also, too, there's one other thing I want to mention that if you haven't hit the subscribe button, we're doing a big push to get as many subscribers as we can. We recently hit 100, so we're gonna be doing a little giveaway for that probably in about a week or 2. I'm gonna be giving away some of my one sheet movie posters I collected from my years of working in movie theaters, and then also probably a couple gift cards. So I'll be posting that probably like in a week or so. I'll be putting up some options you can choose from. I'll maybe throw up 5 or 6 options, and
hey, I'll say it right now. If we can get to 200, I'll give away my extra copy of Dawn of the Dead 4K, which is like a $60 value for free. I will give it away, and it's a really hell. And that thing's not. They're not making that many copies of it, so I would give away one for free. The OG. No, they got a new 4K like 3-disc set. It's awesome. And because of a shipping error, I received 2 in the mail. So I have one still shrink wrap sitting on my shelf that I'm not using. So I will give that away if we get to 200 to somebody.
Yeah, we just gotta brainstorm what we're gonna do. Like we're gonna have a little trivia battle for, or like how we're gonna decide who the winner is, who gets everything. But we'll post it in about a week or 2. So just watch for that. So yeah, but yeah, this has been a fun time. So I think that'll do it for us tonight. So for Liz, for Amaru, for Jacob, for Henry, for Austin, I've been
don't forget
Jordan, Oh yeah, and Moose too.
And
Yep,
Moose. That's right.
Yep. Moose. Yep.
He's watching Ghostbusters as we speak, or probably getting out of it right as we speak because we went so long. He's leaving the theater right now. Find out what he thinks.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've been Jordan. I've actually seen all these movies for once for an episode. Anderson, and we will see you guys next time. Oh, sorry, where the little outro goes. Sorry. It's coming. I promise, yeah.